Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. We got some chilling music in the background. How you guys like that?
Yeah, cool beats. Yeah, nice.
That's very sexy, Tom.
That's
like
lovely.
Now.
That's lovely, lovely. You know what else is lovely?
That's right.
Culture Casino's hair, if you could see it.
I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to get the camera to come up. Hey, there we go. Hi, kids.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Tom Connors, of course. With me, as always, is my partners in crime, Jesse Miller of Jesse Miller Over the Crow's Nest. How you doing?
Oh, I can't complain. How's the day treating you?
It's been a long one. I had to edit a video. Script Doctor's
like
here.
You've had some sleep, so that's good.
Well, some. The Script Doctor's here as well, I'm glad to say. How you doing, friend?
I'm doing well. If anyone wants to contact that crazy G4 lady, I just posted the two representatives of their email on Twitter.
Oh, fuck. She hates you now. I saw that shit like going down in real time. I'm like, oh shit, everybody's throwing down the gauntlet. Because like before everybody came in, I'm like, I said something to Andre. I'm like, you know what'd be really cool is if we get her on Toxic Femme. Shit, before I could even get that thought out to him, everybody else had already said something. So I'm like, never mind. Quartering, everybody else has already said something. Yellow Flash, Bucket, let them try because she ain't gonna answer them. That's the lovely part of the whole fucking thing. But anyway, we also have with us the lovely hair of Culture Casino.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. The camera wouldn't activate, then it did, and I said hi. I'm happy to be here. Day's been going good. Recorded some videos for this week and getting towards the next week. A lot of evergreen content that'll be a lot of fun to consume. And you and I had a great Tuesday tirade today, just kind of shooting the BS and talking some good stuff. So thank you for that.
I was awake.
You were.
And also joining us for the first time, a special guest. You know his art, and you may have seen him on such shows as Doomcock. And now he's here with us, Mr. Douglas Nelson, the man.
Happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
How you doing, friend?
I'm doing pretty good. But, I think what's her name should be somewhat satisfied. I mean, she wanted attention, and now she has it.
Oh, she's getting plenty.
Yes, we've got some stuff to talk about, mainly Spider-Man news that I've been talking about, and it's going to be interesting. We're going to get into that here shortly. But first, let's say hello to everybody who's here in the chat, or at least some people anyway. I don't think we have enough time to say hello to everybody. I'm so sorry. Because there's already over 130 of you in here. Please hit that like button. Please share the link out. Get everybody in here. We got Goddess of Whim hanging out, swinging that wrench around. So is Willie. We got Lindsay hanging out. I saw Chef in here before. How you doing? Six, I believe, is in the house. We have Gabria Bradley, if I could say it right. David Rayner's here. Max Relax is here. Mecha J's here. Hello. SXHBK is here. Ken Jack Ben, as well as Mr. Dragon. Trav 101. Monster Huntress Rune, if I could speak. That sounds like it's another woman watching us. That means our demographic went up a whole point. Awesome. DS4 is here as well.
Every
Todd Tyler.
Matters.
Well, hey, every little bit matters, like you said. Munchkin's here. Welcome. HVP. I see Stephanie Janisek is here. Speaking of the female demographic, we also have Siege Perilous here. We have Inspira Paz, if I'm saying that right. I'm really horrible at names, as you all are learn. Ellie Yap is here. We also have 47 Yorktown. Rogstar is here. So many more. Willie is here, as I said before, swinging that wrench. So look out, because I heard he likes to tie it at the end of his Willie. So it can get wild.
I just think it's funny that you're going to try to sit here and read 140 names, and
I'm going to try.
You still forgot Kevin, just like his mother did.
Mondo Bizarro's here. Wow. Spider Unlimited's here. Billy D's here. Adam Wolford's here. Is there really a Kevin here? We got Olaf Van Ness is here, though.
What about Stapler and Filing Cabinet?
Pete Dencat.
Zipper.
That's my
Hello, Tree.
Zipper. Yeah.
Oh, everyone's cats and dogs.
And now we got to behave because the boss man is here, kids. That's right.
Well, greetings, everyone. How's it going?
Good evening, Andre.
You're just in time for Steven's ceremonial super chat.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Stephen. And hey.
He says, "Hail, Midnight's Edge panel, mods, and chat, starting on time. Hell freezes over." Well, I figured we had to start on time.
That's just Canada.
No, yeah, that's just Canada. It actually is freezing here. It's 1 degree Celsius. Or Fahrenheit, I mean, not Celsius. It's Celsius.
Fahrenheit.
Like
It's 9 degrees. It's -9 in Canada. All right.
Yeah, it's horrible. This is the warmest it's been all day, believe it or not, surprisingly. But Andre, you showed me it's not as snowy up by you right now.
No, not right now. It's been plenty of snow already. But we had a little bit of a warm spell where it was almost as, around like 1 degree centigrade, actually. Loads of the snow disappeared. So yeah, it's not too much snow where I'm at right now. No. Which is perfectly fine. It's mostly ice and shit. So yeah.
Yeah, I kind of, when like in American, that's like 35, 40-ish, right?
I have no clue. Like the thing with
It's high 20s.
with like
Like a
the
zero
centigrade to
freezing.
Fahrenheit, it's like a sliding scale. So you kind of like have to memorize every little thing, and I honestly never bothered to do
Yeah,
that.
it's a weird ratio.
I never
Because ours is
understand it either.
32,
Well,
and
yeah.
yours is 0.
Yeah,
Zero
zero
makes
usually
more
means
sense.
lack of movement and ice, and that makes
Yeah.
sense. But like 32 suggests
Yeah,
that
it's so
you know,
arbitrary.
it's kind of
I mean,
still
the
like there's
Fahrenheit, that's
something there.
completely arbitrary. It's completely ridiculous. I mean, like
And as I speak, it just went down to -1.
Oh,
Can I get a degree?
And actually, Andre, I don't think you've had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Douglas Nelson yet. You know the name.
well,
Now
of
meet the man.
course, I know the artwork, which is fantastic. So hail Douglas.
oh, thank you, Andre. Well, we've had brief little communications. In the
Okay, I wasn't
DMs
sure if
and
you guys
whatnot.
had a chance to actually talk though.
No,
No,
we
not
haven't
this
spoken.
is it. This is the
Yeah.
first time. Yeah.
But of course, we are all big fans of your artwork, as you are well aware. So
Well,
yeah.
thank you.
Indeed, but
awesome.
there's a reason why Andre is here, and that is because we had been privy to some interesting news that is starting to spread like wildfire.
Yeah, so we have to hurry up with that video. We're just trying to get all the information we possibly can, but we'll have a video inside of within the next 24 hours.
Yeah,
Poor Tom.
I know, it's lovely. But the basics of the story is, kids, if you haven't heard already, I've been hanging around my Twitter and a few places I've dropped in to drop this news. This is a rumor, kids, so take it with a grain of salt, but it's coming from a lot of different sources now.
Yeah, it's one of those rumors that's going to stop being a rumor real freaking fast.
Probably. I'm actually surprised it wasn't the news this morning when I woke up. But the word is Tom Holland signed a huge deal to continue to play Spider-Man for quite some time in the MCU and for Sony. I've heard a different number, but the main number now seems to be coming back is 9, which is also the same number you heard, Script, it sounds like.
That is correct.
So that's 9 more appearances as Spider-Man, 6 of which would be Spider-Man films, 2 separate trilogies, 1 set in college, and another one afterwards, obviously. And then he's also getting back-end points, but we did not hear how much this deal will overall entail. So it could be bigger than RDJ's deal, but we don't know yet. But that was a pretty big
In
deal. I
time,
think
it's definitely it's going
could
to
be. It could very well be just with the back end side of things. But
Oh, hell yeah.
I think
Wow.
Script
So
and I
it's-
were talking just before the show that that RDJ's deal was the biggest at the time and still is to this point.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
these will be 6 Spider-Man films primarily,
Yes.
with 2 possibly like Avengers or something like that.
3 other
3
appearances.
appearances.
Or
Yeah.
3 other.
And
Wow.
I actually heard it was more like between 10 and 12. And one of those could possibly be a 7th and final Spider-Man film. But that
So-
was one source. But Mikey Sutton and Script Doctor and stuff like that are saying 9. So we're going to go with that for now.
So
Wow.
you think this kid's the type to build himself a compound or buy himself an island? What do you think he's going to do?
He's British, so who knows?
And the other thing-
he's going to buy the island that he's from.
The only other detail I heard was that this does
Hello,
not
Queen.
entail any of his other acting gigs like Uncharted, but this could actually have a directorial deal with it. But I was told it was probably not an MCU film, and most likely
Yeah, so
like
this
some
kid's
kind of
set for
passion
life.
project. Probably at this point, unless some catastrophic thing happens or he says the worst thing he could ever say in history or do something really bad, this kid's set for the next decade or better.
Oh, if
No, I
was him,
think you
would
mean this
delete
kid is set
everything.
for like the next 10 generations of his
Yeah.
lineage.
Oh yeah.
And welcome, Nick, to the show. How you doing?
Hi, Nick.
Hello, guys. How you doing? So, okay,
Hey.
this seems like some. Hey, guys, what's up? Script, Culture, Jesse,
Yes.
Douglas, Nelson, and Andre. Nice to officially meet you both. Hello,
Yeah,
Tom, as
likewise,
per usual.
greetings. I know the name.
Thank you. Yes.
Now
I
know the
obviously-
flavor.
Right now, you know the flavor. So, okay, so
All
obviously,
32 of them.
Nick is the very
Nick is an
American
individual
looking,
from near my
long-haired
neck of the
fella.
woods, so we're
we're in the cold. We
We're
got a
kindred
cold one
spirits.
common. Yes, we are. So, okay, so obviously this is a huge deal with Spider-Man. So I heard what I hear now: 6 flicks, 9 flicks. What's the deal here?
9 flicks total, which would include 6 of them being Spider-Man feature films. And the other
Ooh.
3 appearances would be outside of the Spider-Man films. Yeah, it sounds like a pretty big deal right now. And funnily enough, this just kind of smells like they're kind of positioning Spider-Man to be the next Tony Stark to me. I mean, again, I'm positing going off of these rumors, but I don't know what you guys think. I'm really interested to hear everybody's
That's a
take.
positive thing. This
This
is
is
definitely
huge.
a positive thing.
This
because
is
Spider-Man,
huge.
Spider-Man.
So, Andre, I don't know how much time you have, so we'll either start with you or we'll allow you to pass the baton first.
Yeah, sure. No, I can start off. I think that this is great news. This is obviously why they wanted someone of Tom Holland's age group to begin with, because then they want him to be Spider-Man for the next, well, let's be honest, their next 2 decades.
At least, probably, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think that's cool. Like, we've had a number of Spider-Man already. There's probably not going to be that many more anytime soon, because this is the Spider-Man going forward. And yeah, we're probably going to have more Andrew Garfield. We're probably going to have more Tobey Maguire, which I certainly wouldn't mind. But this is the Spider-Man going forward. That is what this deal says. This is like the linchpin of both the Sonyverse and the MCU for the decades to come, I think. They know how important this is. Like, this deal happened, of course, after the box office of No Way Home, which only goes to show that, oh yeah, we got a winner here.
Well,
And
I
the
think part of
audience
it was
wants
in
more.
motion before that, because remember when Amy
Well, of
Pascal,
course, but that sealed the deal.
yeah, she kind of, well, and that's kind of adding to the credence to this, because she said something about either another trilogy or another 2 trilogies, and then she had to go out and, well, we don't know for sure yet, or whatever it was she said to correct herself. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this is true, but again, we got to take it with a grain of salt. It is rumor at this time, though. Script Doctor, let's go to you next, because it sounds like you heard something similar. You said,
Yeah, you pretty much said it. There's not much
so
more to add
I'm just
there,
saying,
buddy.
like, well, how do you feel about it? Let's go to you next. Like, I guess.
Well, if he's going to be the new face of Marvel, I mean, that's basically what they're doing at this point. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's a smart move.
Was there anything different in what you heard than what Tom heard?
Not yet.
Any little pieces?
No, it's 6 Spider-Man feature films in conjunction with Marvel and Sony, and then 3 appearances. And then there's I just heard from an actor friend that there's a posting for a female to be in a Marvel film as a romantic interest, but there's no details yet, and there's nothing confirming if it's associated with Sony, and there's no real like physical description required, other than early to mid 20s.
Well, is there anyone else that we're not thinking of that could be a love interest to besides Spider-Man? I mean,
Could be for
age-wise?
Black Cat, could be for Mary Jane, could be
Yeah.
for a new character. We don't know.
That's a good question.
they probably will bring in a Black Cat. They haven't done that in film yet.
She's been on the table for a while.
Yeah, they
And,
almost did, but they, yeah.
They
she was
really
a-
want to do a Black Cat Silver Sable film.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
wrong with that.
Amy Pascal really wanted that. This is true, but I'm not so sure that Kevin Feige will want that. And if Kevin Feige tells Tom Rothman, you know what, I don't think this is the best of ideas, probably not going to happen in that sense. But then again, who knows? It's like all
Well,
gold,
Andre,
all
do you
girl
think
power in
that
the world.
Do you think that Mary Jane needs to be introduced before Black Cat does? Because there's always like that back and forth. She's trying to, get Spider-Man, and he's with Mary Jane. Blah, blah,
I don't know
blah.
if they'll go with Mary Jane next.
I don't think so. No,
You don't think they're going to do that?
no.
Well, they can.
They
They
could,
but they've already done this where they just said that Zendaya is the MJ. His version.
Yeah, and they can change their mind.
Yeah, but spoiler alert, she got,
I mean,
she got mind wiped.
She's too expensive now.
She
they
got
wanna cut
blanked.
the cost of anywhere.
I think they
So
might
why
do the
not
Gwen
bring in the
Stacy
real
again.
Mary
I
Jane?
don't know.
Like, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be
Right,
surprised if it did. They're not going to introduce her right away. But now, when you have like this multicultural thing, Spidey and MJ. Well, who's not to say that that is the one MJ, right?
Well, and her name was
also,
Michelle.
Mary
so.
Jane knows that Spider-Man is Peter Parker before Peter Parker meets Mary Jane. So now that he's living on his own and is presumably going to be going to college, you can easily have her be a neighbor in the area in like kind of like a school zone residential dormitory or something, looking out a window and seeing Peter Parker climbing out of his apartment as Spider-Man and going off. And you've got a whole story there of dramatic irony where Mary Jane knows Pete's Spider-Man, doesn't say anything. Pete's got a romantic interest with the Black Cat who only likes Spider-Man and doesn't know about Peter Parker. And then you could probably throw in Gwen Stacy there and have a real trifecta of crazy potentials.
And many of the best Spider-Man comic books are the ones from his college years. Like, if they're going to explore that thing, if we're lucky, they might go back to a really, really good era of Spider-Man rather than to fast forward to the shit of today.
Do you guys remember how Mary Jane and Peter Parker met?
Yeah, and
it was introduced through like
they were bothering him forever
or something.
They bugged him forever, and he wasn't about it.
Yeah, he was all like, "Why? Why is this happening?"
Yeah, because he was worried it was going to be a nerdy girl or whatever.
Yeah, he was going to be like her.
That's the '60s for you.
And then the cliffhanger happens, and the whole infamous "you just hit the jackpot" line happens.
You just hit the jackpot.
And the rest was history.
So Douglas, you have a vast knowledge of this stuff. What's your feelings on this?
Well, just narratively, the way No Way Home ended, I'm kind of dubious, but like Andre says, they can do whatever they want. So, and just based on the popularity of the character, they could maneuver a way to introduce a new, the Mary Jane.
Well, the upside is they don't have to do the whole 25% different thing now.
Yeah, which is good. And for this amount of films, you probably get more of the actual Spider-Man stories, because my problems with the initial MCU Spider-Man, it wasn't Spider-Man. You finally got him in this one, I think.
Yeah, that's another thing. Not only does he have time to date around if they want to introduce a Gwen-like character for this universe first and then go into a Mary Jane or whatever, but I mean, you guys are saying like maybe in 10, 20 years still being Spider-Man. They could re-sign him after these movies. I mean, how long do you think he could possibly play Spider-Man?
I don't know if they'll go that far, but
but like these movies, I mean, they started out with phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, whatever. They're going to make these movies indefinitely until they're just not.
They're going to eventually have to.
So they're still going to be going at that.
They're eventually going to have to reboot. Sorry, go ahead, Andre.
I don't know that they really have to do. Yeah, eventually, like in a century, obviously, but I don't know that they have to like do any reboot in the next 30 years. Really?
Yeah, exactly.
They have such a roster of characters that they can just have like one replace the other character and have like one character just step into the sunset and retire for a decade, and then James Bond that character back again. Do like Marvel movies in the real time. There's no need.
Well, that's kind of what Kevin Feige has already hinted at that he wants.
Exactly. Like I don't think there's going to be a hard reboot of the MCU for at least 30 years.
Well, yeah, I'd say 10.
Do you think it'll be smart? Like Olaf just mentioned, Miles Morales.
Seriously, why would they reboot it in 10 years? I mean, it's more than 10 years since the thing begun.
Yeah, and it's preventing a reboot, I think, to just have all 3 Spider-Men in one movie, because that's kind of a cap on your Spider-Man.
I just feel like they've reached this point of diminishing returns besides Spider-Man. So like I mean, don't get me wrong. I could be very, very wrong here, but I feel like after 10, 15 years, they're going to almost have to.
Yeah, but
reboot
at that
this thing.
point, when he's starting to age
Why?
out, can then they bring in Miles Morales?
This has
and
just
it'll
gotten
look a
so
little more
bogged under
natural.
the weight of itself, and you've used up all these characters, and like eventually you're going to get to
Well,
this
there's
point where
plenty,
you just have a new
plenty ways to do a
generation.
clean slate. You can do plenty soft reboots without having to do a hard reboot and reset the whole universe.
Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, in this universe, you don't have a Doc Ock yet, right? You don't have the rogues gallery of enemies,
Right.
that they some of them were only introduced in this film from the other universes.
Well, it's going to be hard to one up.
Wow, it's true. It's true, but you can lean heavily now into the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man side of this character and get him back to where he needs to be. And look, you can do another team up with the Spider-Man, again. It wouldn't be that hard for that to be made
The
possible.
audience would be all over it.
Yeah.
So stuff like that happens in the comics all the time. Let's face it, they do all kinds of wacky stuff in comic books.
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about this overall culture? Because you traditionally, I think of just about anybody on this panel here, besides maybe Doug, are not that big of a fan of the Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Oh my God, if they could do a good job with them, again, from college onward, if he could genuinely sell me on his Peter Parker, the growing up version of Peter Parker, the guy that's doing 7 things at once, right? Including like trying to have a relationship and trying to go to school and trying to support himself in this particular iteration because there's no Aunt May, right? And so I mean he's basically on his own. He's trying to do all these amazing things, including be Spider-Man. I really believe maybe with good writing and with him just growing a little bit, I'm just asking for a little bit of growth as an actor. I think
he had a lot of growth in this last movie, but I hear you.
He did.
Yeah, and that just shows how much it is dependent on that writing. I mean,
I believe,
that's
you know what, and I'm right
point.
there with you, Jesse, because I didn't like Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
He had to grow on me. Like I liked him when he came in Civil War, but then after that, especially the last movie before the one with the 3 guys in it, I mean, that one was hard to watch for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna grab Ray J's.
This one I really enjoyed him. So there you go.
I'm gonna grab Ray J's super chat here, and then we're gonna ask Nick how he feels about this. Ray J's World sends in $5 and is also a member. Thank you so much. Says, is Spidey still plan to be connected to the MCU? Because Sony and Spidey might save the MCU from woke failure. Yeah, they're still planned to be connected, and after the success of No Way Home, I don't see any way of them separating anytime soon. And this deal, if it's real, kind of basically seals that deal for the next, like we said, 15, 20 years probably.
And don't put all the leverage on Sony's shoulders for the success of No Way Home. I mean, that's a very silly thing to do because Sony just gives the thumbs up and thumbs down. It's still a Marvel production through and through.
Yeah, basically Marvel Studios just basically delivered a movie to Sony, and they got to distribute it and collect all the money for the most part, outside of 20% or whatever it was. So, yep, as far as we know, unless something catastrophic happens, this deal is probably pretty solid going forward from here on out. Do you have anything else to say about that, Andre, otherwise?
No, we just have to pen the official confirmation and see what else we're able to learn about the details of it.
Right.
But get ready for a whole crap ton of Spider-Man in the years to come. And with that, it's quite late here, so let's see. Maybe that was the update.
Now, one last thing on that, like a crap ton of Spider-Man to come. He was always the linchpin of the company more than Iron Man ever was.
Oh, absolutely. He's
So
the
do you think
Mickey
that
Mouse of Marvel.
Do you think this is going to create a much stronger MCU moving forward?
We can hope.
Because it's been failing for a while with a few movies and they really hit.
Yeah. Well,
that had nothing to do with the lack of Spider-Man, because before it was failing, it was massively succeeding. And it did so without Spider-Man. It's all about the creative vision. They don't need Spider-Man to be successful. Iron Man was the ersatz Spider-Man, and they did really, really awesome with them. And if they have Spider-Man, I mean, that didn't help the Andrew Garfield's trilogy now did it because they only made
Yeah.
2 of them.
Yeah,
Marvel
but
had
do you-
one really bad year, and one highlight of that bad year was No Way Home.
Do you think that after there's a little bit more Spider-Man material out there, that it will help Marvel's problem of not having a proper rogues gallery, because a
Might.
lot of those villains are Spider-Man?
But they do got the rogues gallery from other places now, like X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I agree.
but
They have
X-Men, they got to make a good X-Men movie, man.
Here's like the thing that they have so many characters, and any one, well, not any, but so many of them has the potential to be A-list with the right treatment, just because they're iconic in the comics right now for many of us. Like, most people haven't heard about most of them ever, so they're in the exact same boat as most of the obscure characters that you may never have heard about from somewhere else. As far as the general public is concerned, like, there's no difference. It's all about the execution. So I don't think that Spider-Man really saves anything. What they need is to get their shit together and get over the fact that James Gunn was taken away from them,
Yeah.
because
So-
that really destroyed everything.
So with that, I think Andre has to take off, unless that was your update you were waiting for.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. So
Okay.
first thing in the morning.
All right. Well, take care, sir, and hopefully we can get that video done as soon as possible. And Nick, so what's your reaction to this news?
All right.
Well,
take care,
this
everyone.
is
Take care, Andre.
take care, Andre.
Bye,
So
Andre.
this kind of reminds me of, like, we all have heard those stories of, like, certain parents that stay together just because they gotta do for the kid or the kids, and this is what Marvel and Sony are, the parents, and their kid is Spider-Man. They gotta stay together for the kids, so they are a reluctant
stay together for
You're
that
not
money,
wrong.
Printer.
That
Tom
guy-
Holland
that-
took it to the press. Remember?
and he did. And Tom Holland he's the one torn between. He's like, Mom and Dad, stop fighting and get your shit together. And so this is where we are with that. And obviously, with No Way Home, these two are stuck together, whether they want to or not. And I do think it works more towards Sony's advantage, because at one point in time, Marvel was willing to drop a few billion to take Spider-Man from Sony's hands completely, and even then Sony still didn't budge, which obviously in retrospect was a good move. But now that, and obviously because also originally Sony was the one failing and they went to Marvel, so then Marvel's like, oh, we're gonna be fine at this, and then nope, we need this character. This is our flagship character. Captain Marvel's not taking off the way they planned. And now obviously she got sidelined for the Marvels, so that's another thing you gotta think about. And when they're announcing this many movies, now here's where it gets a little tricky. You gotta think about, okay, so he's got 6 movies as Spider-Man. That alone is huge. That's huge. That's unprecedented. We didn't hear about that for Captain America. We didn't hear about that for Thor, not for Iron Man. And of course, even though they're trying to push for Captain Marvel, not happening either. But for Spider-Man, 6 movies. That's, of course, if this is all still rumor, but this is true. This is huge because they never went this far, in advance for announcing that many movies for a character. Now, for the 3 movies where he shows up in, it makes me wonder how limited is his appearance in those movies. Because let's not forget, at least with Tony Stark,
Well, he
they
still
could
has
just
one left yet on
Yes.
the old contract.
on the old contract. So okay, so 4.
That's
This
a
could
joint
be-
film.
Okay, that's a joy film. So that's good though, because we got 4 movies that need him to be very prominent, because all the movies, they need him to replace Tony Stark. That's what they need him to do. They need him to replace Tony Stark if they're going to make this work, because Stark was all over most of these movies and they need that gap. And Captain Marvel's not going to do it. And obviously with Chadwick Boseman passing away from Black Panther, rest in peace, whoever's replacement, I have a hard time believing that's going to be the one. And Tom Holland, clearly, as you guys mentioned earlier, this was planned from the beginning. They wanted a young Spider-Man, which, to be very fair with comic accuracy, Tom Holland, obviously by the age, is a lot closer in line to Peter Parker starting off in the Golden Age. So that's a huge deal. So you're like, okay, they're going for actually young one rather than having a 30-year-old play an 18-year-old, and you gotta sell us on the idea, which obviously it worked back then, but it is cool to have that believability factor there and the authenticity there. And now it kind of makes the whole, I guess you could say, original MCU trilogy. We'll start off with that term, the original MCU trilogy, the MCU origin story. Basically, that trilogy in retrospect is his origin story. Now we get to see him grow into a life of being on his own, obviously, because he has to start over with a new supporting cast. Possibly, maybe we might see more Betty Brant. Maybe we might see more Felicia Hardy. Maybe we might actually see a Harry Osborn in this universe. Like
Now that would be odd.
it would be odd, but it's just the point is there's so much they can do is what I'm getting at. We could see a Robbie Robertson. I would love to see a Robbie where's Robbie Robertson in this picture? What office does he work at? There's so much great supporting cast. The cast is huge, whether it was an Amazing Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Spider-Man Unlimited. You have all these books from the 60s through the 90s, or just the title Spider-Man, all these great supporting cast members that could be used, or even Robbie's son, Randy Robertson. You can have him be a roommate with him, Randy Robertson. That would be great. They could do more mob stuff too. Tombstone, Hammerhead, so many great small villains. Or if they want to, bring JJ into a picture, have JJ really hate Spider-Man to a point where he helps create the Scorpion with Matt Gargan. Like I would
hell yeah,
great Scorpion story.
Good.
So there's so much they could do just off of New York City alone, and keeping to Spider-Man and Spider-Man villains and Spider-Man supporting cast. They don't need to add all these other characters. Now, obviously, if they bring in some stuff, it's a bonus, but they don't need that because Spider-Man is so rich in lore. They could just keep to that. Like this is everything for them. They have.
How do you think they could fix the Osborn problem though, and bring him in? And like you can't right now in the story, can you have like a young Osborn come in and he's building his tower?
That would be great. An Oscorp in the works. That'd be cool.
It would be, except that he's gonna already know.
He'll know, yeah,
because he's already met another version of him.
Well, that's
there's
where
no
it
mystery
gives,
as to who the Green Goblin
an interesting bit of
or they could do the Hobgoblin
for this version of Peter Parker, because he already knows in certain aspects where certain of these characters could go, but he also knows that they're not the same people, right?
Yeah.
So that can play into it as well. But I gotta say,
right. He would be Googling a lot of names after that last Spider-Man movie.
I gotta say though, this might only be a 10-year deal, because if you stop and think about it, they basically have been pumping out one of these Spider movies every other year.
That's true.
Yeah. And then shoving them in between the other ones, so it can only be like a 10-year deal. But we'll see. We have yet to see if this is actually true. I have a feeling it is. But when we get more details, we'll definitely talk a bit about it more. And we do have a video coming out about it. We have a couple super chats here I want to grab. And Jesse, you've kind of given your feelings throughout, but if you want to kind of give a definitive answer to that, go right ahead, since you kind of didn't get a chance to really answer it.
Well, I just feel good about the whole thing overall, because it allows everybody who has their different fandoms of the different franchises to have their cake and eat it too. This kid's basically gonna be concreted. I really think that he's going to help out the next phase, just because Spider-Man is the pillar of Marvel. And what I'm really looking forward to is how the hell they're going to add the Fantastic Four, and later the X-Men. And I think they need to hurry up, but you gotta slow down sometimes before you hurry up.
Well, it's a good point, because Spider-Man has a lot of history with the F4 too, so it'd be interesting to see if they tie them together at all.
But Spider-Man didn't meet the X-Men until what was it, in Secret Wars, where it's
something like that, I think.
Yeah, and they're going to do Secret Wars, so
yeah, Secret Wars
that one of those appearances is going to be with that. So
you can't do Secret Wars till they already have everybody.
That might be their way to bring in everybody.
Rhodey is in part of Secret Wars as Iron Man, because Tony Stark wasn't involved in that. So you got almost everybody there. You're just missing the Fantastic Four and X-Men.
But then what's the twist if you already have the Venom?
Well, they have yet to introduce Venom into the actual this side of the MCU.
Yeah, who's to say that sample wasn't taken by the Beyonder and put in that containment?
But that little bit of goo that got away at the bar.
That's what I'm saying. Is now we know that there is this. That's the other multiverse deal. So yeah,
it would be really funny if that's where he got it from. Is just like some South Asian bar. There's a little bit of goo.
Well, it's seeking out. We know the goo is seeking out Peter Parker, and I have a feeling already that the goo is gonna once it has its little run in with Peter Parker. It's gonna and Peter shakes it off. It's going to go, okay, the only other human that I know I was compatible with was, Eddie, so he's going to go find that version of Eddie and just
Right.
hope to God they're compatible. And that's how that's probably going to work out. Whether it's going to be Tom Hardy or not in that universe, I have no
This is their last chance to hire Brock Lesnar to be Eddie Brock.
See,
Brock-
that's
Oh,
you have that opening
yeah.
now,
Yeah,
so-
that opening,
No.
yeah, for the Eddie Brock of this
No.
universe.
He
Because they're not
looks
going to have
exactly like him. and
they're
his
not
name
going to
is
have
Brock.
Tom Hardy. They're not going.
No.
they could, but the whole
They
thing
they
is
should.
Feige was not happy with the first Venom movie because he wanted to use Venom in the end, he wants the actual Venom with Spider-Man. He
I
doesn't
get
want
that.
the goody two-shoes version. So I have a feeling that that's what that ending was all about is, Sony gets their way and Kevin Feige gets his way. So we're going to get introduced to a bad Venom in the MCU that'll go up against Tom Holland's Spider-Man. But then
And-
again, there's a lot of rumors going around that Tom Holland's supposed to pop up in the next Venom movie, but I don't see how that's even possible.
And this is the actual fun side of parallel universes,
Isn't it?
as opposed to we're just making Paradox's side.
Exactly.
I would have thought they could just go with Andrew Garfield to be their Spider-Man. For the
See, I've
Venom.
heard some rumors to that too, Douglas. But here's the thing: is I don't think they'll make any deals with Tom or Andrew until after everything's said and done with Tom, which it is obviously probably behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Because there was an interesting interview with Tom Holland where he was asked, or Andrew Garfield, where he was asked again about Spider-Man 3, and he's like, "Where were you fuckers in 2014 or something like that?"
Yeah.
Now, do you
Anyway.
think that would be a good mix between Venom and the Garfield series? Because
Maybe.
they both have the same. They're like not the same, but they have a similar style of cinematography. I mean, Venom's a little grayer,
considering how
overall,
batshit
for
crazy
the color scale, but
the Andrew Garfield version of Spider-Man is, he could kind of fit in with that version, I guess.
Yeah.
Planner Aspect says, go ahead, Douglas.
Oh, no, I was just going to say it might be too much stepping on each other's toes, and I don't know how that they would.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Because then you could have a Spider-Man movie every year because one would be Holland and one would be. I don't know that they would go. For
I
that.
just don't see them giving them
Right.
their own.
Possibly as a
movie.
guest star in a Venom movie, but
Yeah,
even that's a stretch.
I could be wrong though.
Yeah.
see, I'm a pain in the ass in a lot of ways, and I'm picky. But I would actually go see that if there was a Spider-Man movie every year, and it was like a different guy almost every time.
Yeah, I'd be fine
But,
with
you know,
it,
it's
but
one
you know
of
how
the
the
three.
I mean,
I
Script
can
knows
follow
what I'm
his
saying
story.
and what Doug's kind of saying as far as like the confusion aspect. Like that used to be the case in Hollywood, but after this, I think all bets are off. At this point. I mean, I'll never say never right now when it comes to Spider-Man.
Right, that's one thing we've learned. Like, if you had told me 2 years right after Far From Home came out that we'd be having this type of discussion, where about 6 more movies after he became a proper Spider-Man, I would never believe
Well,
that.
Nick,
It's great to
we
be
were
having
getting
this
fed
discussion.
this shit
though.
way back when, right? And
Mhm,
I
mhm.
didn't believe it until they announced Sam Raimi as director of Doctor Strange, and that's when
Mhm.
something clicked with me. I'm like, all right, so this ain't right. You just don't bring
Oh.
Sam Raimi in to direct a second
Yeah.
Doctor Strange movie. That just something's up here.
Yeah.
But anyway, Planner Aspect says, I've always felt Holland embodied the character extraordinarily well, and with how I saw him in the comics, but he hasn't had the stories yet. Maybe now. Well, that's the hope. And we got Mr. Grant Gregory in the house, sending in 5 Australian. Says, I like Tom Holland's trilogy as much as Nick likes Dan Slott's Spider-Man.
Oh God.
Interview with Nick for context. I know he's
Oh.
unpopular in some circles, and I did not like the second film. I will at least concede on that one. But outside of that, I've enjoyed this version of Spider-Man just fine. I did not care for the Andrew Garfield films at all. Gino X 1987 says, do you think Power Girl could be adapted with the Snyderverse? I don't know. What do you guys
Why?
think?
Wow. Shouldn't that be like a way later thing?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would agree. And
Isn't
on
she
top of that,
popular right now on television or whatever?
no, she's
You're-
not on television yet.
No,
Power
there's
Girl
no
is
Power
Supergirl
Girl.
with bigger breasts. That's
Yeah,
it.
I know.
What's
So that's
the
why
one
it's
I'm
never
thinking
going to
of?
be allowed.
Yeah, that was made for all the toxicity and then some.
Yeah, I know.
Why did I
So-
think she had a TV show already?
You
No,
must be
Supergirl has a TV
mistaking
show.
Supergirl and
Supergirl
Naomi.
does.
Naomi
You're
has
just
a show
thinking
on
about
CW.
there
every
was something-
comic
was that it?
convention
Maybe
you've ever
Naomi
been
I was
to.
thinking of. I don't know, but
God, Power Girl. God.
honestly, guys, I would not hold my breath right now on the Snyderverse until Zaslav is in charge officially and decisions are starting to be made. Because we've heard from a few different places now that everything is in a holding pattern right now at Warner Brothers because of that. So unless anybody's heard anything different, I'm going to go with that answer right now. I hate to be the bearer of bad news on that, but it's not so much bad news as I would just say, let's just hold off, but don't hold our breath.
Yeah, it kind of sucks to be a DC fan right now because there's a lot of face palming going on over there.
Tell me about it.
But I think with the right individuals involved, anything can be adapted, and I think Script would agree with me there, and just about everybody else here would too.
Oh yeah, I mean, if Zaslav were a smart man and stopped listening to some of the crazy people that he's meeting with beforehand, the smartest thing would be is like, listen, none of the attempts have done what they're intended to do, so let's just cut our losses and start fresh, and there's always a better chance. Because again, we would not be in this situation if Zack Snyder's take and Warner Media's take on these characters was as really successful as some people think it is. So,
and as an industry guy, don't you think that would create a better, more positive buzz for them overall if they did start fresh?
Yes.
At this point, yeah, they're almost better off just completely.
It worked after. It worked with Batman Begins after Batman and Robin. It can work again.
Yeah.
I don't see why Marvel and DC have to act like they have to keep beat with each other. They're two different companies.
No, and that's the problem is DC drags its ass on everything, and there's no fucking excuse. Like Marvel, go ahead, Douglas.
It's the odd thing about it where Marvel had to create a studio ground up while DC sat there with their parent company being movie studio, and they could have done this a long time ago and never even considered it.
Well,
and since then,
they actually tried to with after Batman Begins. The goal was to bridge Superman Returns into that thing. Christopher Nolan wasn't keen on that.
Yeah,
and there wasn't. And again, the other part too, which Kevin Feige did, is him, Ike Perlmutter, and another person, his name is escaping me at the moment, consolidated and created Marvel Studios. And DC Warner Brothers doesn't have that over at DC. They just have DC Films. And
that's what they
fans
need.
call it the DCEU, but that's not a real thing.
It's really
and nobody can tell me what the E stands for, so it's made up BS. So
it's supposedly expanded.
It's obviously
extended from what?
Extended. Okay.
Well, Jeff Johns said this is Jeff Johns. This is his. We're just saying these are along the lines of the words he said. He said, "I didn't come up with the name. Some journalists just said extended universe, and people started running with it." That's kind of what Jeff Johns said.
I do remember that.
And journalists came up with it, and then you ask anyone, what does the extended part mean, and they cannot come up with an answer.
Yeah, and that's very sad because there's so many great DC characters. Like, I'm more of a Marvel guy overall, but there are some DC characters I absolutely love. I love Hawkman.
The problem
is
what Script's saying is they don't have a studio. They don't have somebody in charge. And if you had somebody overseeing this, much like they're doing, and you don't have to do it just like Marvel, but what you do need is a guiding hand who can get these projects going. There's no excuse that DC couldn't have, a half a dozen movies out every year with their top tier characters. And DC does arguably have more well-known characters than Marvel does as far as singular characters, right? Like, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, those four characters alone are arguably more well known than most of the Marvel characters outside of Spider-Man and maybe the X-Men, right? So like, it's not like there's any fucking excuse other than they just don't know how to get their shit together. And that's a common thing we've heard for a while. And hopefully Zaslav will come in and do that. Whether it's delegating somebody to actually come in and oversee this shit, we just hope it's not Jeff Loeb.
What a tragedy. Jeff Loeb. He used to have some great comics. I mean, Daredevil Yellow, anyone? I mean, Spider-Man
I don't
Blue.
think the CW's been successful enough, and that's the thing with Zaslav is he's very cutthroat when it comes to that. And I've been talking to a few people that kind of vicariously know him, so I'm getting some good vibes off of him. But I think Script's right. As long as he hears from the right people, that's what we got to worry about, is who's talking to him, who's feeding him full of what information. Because as you know, Warner Brothers is a huge house divided.
Yep.
Oh yeah. And it shows so bad. Like I don't know the things that you guys do, but I pay attention. I try to pay attention, and
I
it's
wish I
seriously
could say
the
half the shit I know, but it would give away some of the people I know.
And, well,
Well, the soap opera.
I don't know
behind the
anybody
scenes
that
is more
high up
interesting
or
than the
anything.
movies they
but,
produce.
like, yeah. It's just the fact that, the shit rolls downhill, and it's been a constant thing for the last more than 5 years, probably going on a decade now, that there's been no strong leadership.
Mhm.
And there's one person who's hopefully his ass is out the door as soon as this happens. I'm looking at you, Toby Emmerich, because what have you done for me lately?
Emmerich and Sarnoff.
And Sarnoff is,
We'll see.
she's
We'll
kind of
see.
what? How
She's
new to
royalty.
the table?
She's
She's
royalty
married
there.
to Hollywood royalty. Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So like, I'm not even worried about her. She's just brought into
She's
the
Kate
problem.
Middleton, essentially.
Exactly, but she
Toby
could still,
Emmerich is the one who took the strongest fucking studio in Hollywood
fuck
and one
it.
of the strongest independent studios in Hollywood with New Line Cinema
New Line and destroyed it.
destroyed them both. And every other ancillary thing Warner Brothers has to this point.
And New Line used to be like one of the studios that made like half the crap I loved when I was a
I
kid.
know, right? And that's what I
Yeah.
told Robert Shea the first time I talked to him. Like, thank you for my childhood. And he's like, all weird. He's like, well, thank you. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Around me right now, like 90% of what's around me, you are part of. You created or had something to do with.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, thank you. I'm like, I got Freddy, Ninja Turtles, all over the fucking place,
gave you
man.
the
It's
garden,
you. You know, it's
Well,
like,
and Lord of the Rings and all kinds of
Well,
other
yeah, I
incredible
mean,
things. Yeah.
like, and not to mention Warner Brothers alone, just what they stood for, because they were better than Disney because they didn't have to worry about this goody two shoes shit, right?
Yeah.
Like they could give you something that wasn't sanitized, and they took chances, and they had a lot of great stuff. And this guy who came in, like to this point, his only big fucking success was that movie Frequency, and he was accused of stealing that idea anyway.
Right.
And he kept getting his brother put in movies.
Ugh.
Do you know who his brother is? You ever see the Truman Show? The guy who plays his best friend, that's his brother.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, long-winded response to Gino's question there, but thank you for that. And then we got Todd Vandersees, if I'm saying that right, says, I never miss you guys stream or Overlord DVD. Well, awesome, Todd.
Yeah.
Glad to have you here. And thank you for the super chat. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Adam Wolford says, Tom Spider called the Spider-Man and Andrew called Amazing Spider-Man. Each titles have different styles of font for each version of Spider-Man. I get what you're saying, Adam Wolford, but there's a large part of the general public that are not too bright.
That's exactly why you do that. 'Cause you take some of the aesthetic. That's why you
We're
take some
so
of the aesthetic from the
honest
comic
tonight.
books that worked on children, and you see if that will work on a general population.
Oh man.
To where your kids have to basically explain this shit to mom and dad. No. Again, I will say though, in this day and age, after the success of Spider-Man No Way Home, I'm never gonna say never, right? Like I can't.
Right. Yeah.
I normally would be like, oh, never, ever would they do that, because it's just one of those unwritten rules in Hollywood. But now that door has been opened, so I can't say that. So,
Man. This is a big deal. I mean, I'm just going to keep saying it. This is a big deal because they're committed to Tom. And you're right, Tom. You, Tom, are right, Tom, because
Tom.
this is, yeah.
It's all about Tom.
Tom. It's Tom and Tom. It's because you're right. There's a decade here of films and and other opportunities for him. And good for him, but he needs to make sure that the writing's good. And maybe now with a deal like what he's getting, he'll have enough gravitas to say this dialogue sucks. Kind of
I'm sure he'll have a little more influence,
because Script Doctor brought it up a couple days ago, right?
Well, and I had heard something about executive producer role too, which is just a name and a title, right? Like,
sure, yeah. I mean, everybody, you can put an EP, get a producer title on whatever, but
that could be his back end deal. That's why I didn't really necessarily bring that into the main part.
Yeah, but Script, like I said, Script brought it up the other day. He's like, one of the reasons that Iron Man was successful is the gravitas of RDJ. RDJ was
Mhm.
able to say that, and go ahead, Script, because it's what you said yesterday. Day
I
before
mean,
yesterday.
Robert Downey Jr. He was just getting he just kind of reinvented himself because he did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which pretty much landed in the role for Tony Stark.
Right.
And then at the same time, him and Favreau were so well together that they're like, well, listen, this is a crapshoot of a movie. We don't know if it's going to work. So all Robert Downey Jr. did was say, okay, whatever we're filming today, we're going to throw out the dialogue. And we're going to rewrite it, make sure it pops, make sure it works. And that's what they did. The plot will always remain the same.
Right.
And I mean, the plot for Iron Man, the first one it's a little bit weak. It's very heavily dependent on Tony Stark's journey, but like Obadiah Stane stuff is a little weak. But regardless, it's still a very entertaining film, and it works because they spent all that time on the characters to make sure that whatever they were shooting was going to be the best that they could do.
Right.
They had to take a character that's snarky and arrogant like Tony Stark and make him charming and make his arrogance comedic.
Yep.
Which they managed to pull off. And that's one of the difficult things to do. And another one that they're going to have to do with Mr. Fantastic, which is going to be really hard because a lot of the writers that could do that aren't working at Marvel or Disney these days.
You don't think somebody can come along and do a good job with Reed?
I think there's some people that could. I don't think Marvel Studios is going to hire them.
I think
And
here's
if they
the
don't
thing.
get the right actor to do it, it's going to be terrible. And like, I'm not a fan of Straczynski because he can only do arrogance. He has no range as an actor.
You don't think
Yeah,
so?
and Reed is hard because he's.
I've seen him in every
Yeah.
Office episode, all the movies he's done, even like the ones with like Mandy Moore and the silent one, A Quiet Place. He's the same character, an arrogant guy. Like he has no charm aside from when he's like next to his wife on stage or in interviews. Like he does not ever like he's been in roles where he's supposed to be charming and he's never come across as charming.
That's weird.
But people like him because he's Jim Halpert, and that's who he always plays. And I don't blame audiences for being attached to that. It's a character that, yeah, sure, he's a Scranton Strangler, but whatever.
But he needs to grow as an actor, you're saying.
But yeah, he does not have the range. I say have him stick to directing and maybe producing. But
Polly disagrees with you.
Well, good for Polly.
He does a lot. E-Hacker's in the house. How you doing, buddy? Sends in 200 yen. How you been, E-Hacker? It's been a little while. He does a lot of coverage over there of the Ember situation and all that kind of stuff. Says congrats on 20K. Just noticed now. Yeah, it happened a couple weeks ago. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it because it took me so fucking long to get here. So, but yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate it, man. It's been too long. Ray J's World. I'm actually kind of surprised you're up. Ray J's World says Iron Man also saved Robert Downey Jr.'s career. Yes, it did. As I tend to like to say, he went from sleeping in kids' beds to being on the sheets of kids' beds.
He did. He was about out and done. I mean, as Script said, I mean, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and then Iron Man. That kind of just that relit the fuse on his career. And boy,
he's probably lucky he is who he is, or he'd be dead,
dude. And still the best thing he ever did, and it's not a movie. He was singing with Sting on stage.
Well, you do know that story, I'm sure, Culture, right? Where he drunkenly, or God knows what else, stumbled into somebody's house or broke into somebody's house and went to sleep in their kid's bed.
I do.
And yeah, the 911 call is kind of funny because he's like, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. sleeping in my kid's bed.
Aren't you that kid from that Robert
Hughes
movie?
Was he like, has anybody heard or something like that? He's like, no, he's just sleeping.
But have you ever seen anyone fall that far down, and come back? It was a remarkable.
As far as like in the way he did, no. Like, I mean,
the only one.
But he's lucky. Like, let's look at it this way. Like, he's lucky he didn't make any major mistakes besides that. Like, that was the worst probably of all the things that happened, and that could have been, like I just said, he could have been killed, right? Like, I mean, it could have went horribly fucking wrong.
Well, the football version of that, like a guy that fell that far but didn't quite bounce up, would be Ryan Leaf, right? In the football world, quarterback.
I thought you were gonna say OJ.
No. No.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, well, hell, fuck. Even Matthew Broderick killed somebody and got away with it. So.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Him and his wife.
But I mean, the total thing of addiction and all of that, of how far you go. Usually, it only ends one way.
Right, and usually that's only a self-destructive thing, so that's looked at
Right.
like as long as you can get away from it, and you can have a success story like that. Not everybody's going to be Robert Downey Jr. though. I mean, and he was lucky enough to.
He
Now,
was.
when did he start going downhill? Directly after Chaplin?
Oh no, it was before that. He's been in trouble since he was a teenager.
Yeah, I mean, he was falling downhill fast at that point. I mean, and essentially, as Mondo Bizarro
Didn't he
says,
get busted with coke or something during the making of that? I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, he got in trouble. He had some dalliances, but he is the embodiment of the film Less Than Zero. I mean, to be honest with you. And then think about this. I mean, his buddy Spader, right, pulled his head out of his ass, and turned his shit around faster. But he was pretty messed up too back then, man. He talks about his sobriety with regularity, and who was the kid that was in the Dead Man film? Hang on, Bernie, Weekend at Bernie's.
Which one? Silverman or
the blonde kid,
McCarthy?
McCarthy, yeah, same deal. Right. I mean, a bunch of those Brat Pack kids were just jacked up back then, man. And they had to dig their shit and put it back together. So,
well, when you ask them where all their money went, cocaine.
Some other stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, the 80s movies were great because they were driven by, wanton abandon and chemicals. And, we never wanted that to end, but unfortunately, in any human life.
Yeah, but John Belushi was a cautionary tale to everybody, I think.
Yeah, maybe, but it did. I mean, we ended up losing a couple other people.
Not too many after that, though.
Farley. I mean,
but drugs make you creative because
they're the
they really
exception.
Intensify everything, but they also kill you.
It's true.
The only ones I can think of that died off of the same similar situations would be, like you said, Farley and Don Simpson. I can't think of anybody else.
I have to go through the Rolodex of my mind.
Yeah, I mean, at that time period, anyway. Which one? What? Mitch Hedberg?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what did he die of?
Heroin.
Well, that was how many years ago?
Oh yeah, that's another one. Yeah, recently was Philip Seymour Hoffman, but I'm not sure.
I'm talking about in that period, though.
No, in that period, yeah. I don't think Candy was a victim of the.
No, he was just he had a heart attack.
Yeah, he had a heart attack. I don't think it was drugs. Yeah.
No, his was just eating and stuff too excessively. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see he gained a lot of weight because I saw a picture of him the other day when he first joined. Wasn't SCT? Was he with the Groundlings? He was with first. Who was he with first? I think maybe
was he Second City first?
Was it Second City first? I don't know. He was a picture of him when he was young and he was skinny. I'm like, holy shit! And it didn't take him long to gain weight, so it was like, yeah.
Well, and we could have lost. Oh my gosh, he was in the kid vampire thing, Lost Boys. His dad's famous.
Corey Haim.
No, that's actually in the chat. No, the blonde guy that's
I know you're thinking of, and I'm trying to think. Sutherland.
Yeah, Sutherland. Yeah, I mean he turned his nose up to some of that stuff quickly, so that was good.
Tennille89 says somewhere Alec Baldwin just fell out of his sorry chair when Tom mentioned that notion of a comeback. Oh, he's gone batshit crazy. He's gone off the deep end. I mean,
yeah, he did that like 10 years ago.
No.
But it's escalated.
When he attacked that guy over a parking space.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, it's gotten to the point now where he's almost asking them to throw his ass in prison at this point.
Why? What do you do now?
He's just gone off the deep end with this whole thing.
Ever since Orange Man happened, he just cannot. It's not that he can't. He just doesn't want to show up.
Well, I meant with the whole shooting incident.
Oh yeah, and then that brought tensions even further. Yeah, that brought even further because of especially how non-compliant it was and the way he's talking. It poses a bad image.
Now he's trying to talk somebody out of a civil suit and all this shit. It's like, dude, who is your fucking lawyer? And you need to fucking fire them now. And that's the sad part is he probably has multiple lawyers.
He was like, but don't you understand how this is not my fault?
That's what he keeps saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, Douglas, you were saying, sorry.
I just what lawyer could control him? You know, I mean, he's always been a little off the wall and a temper he
get
had no
that,
control
but
over. And
this
now
is
something like this happens, he's all his defenses have fallen apart.
I
and
hear
think
you,
that's-
Douglas,
yeah.
but well, you got to get a couple of them together and going, look, motherfucker,
Yeah.
you're going to go to prison if you don't shut
Yeah, I
the
know.
fuck up.
Isn't it interesting that he is the embodiment, maybe possibly in reality, of like a manic depressive?
Oh, I'm sure, but I
Yeah.
honestly, I don't feel sorry for him or anything. But at this point, I'm just like, I feel sorry for his lawyers.
I think he's more of a narcissist,
Well, of course he is.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
a fucking
yeah.
actor.
and he can't handle this whole situation.
I'm
It's
no
been
more
worth
than
out
the
saying no.
factors. to
What was
know
the
they're
movie he
fucking
was in where he
narcissists.
was that corrupt doctor who gave the speech that I am God or something like that? And I always thought, boy, that's playing close to home. I can't remember the movie, but I mean,
I can't either. But the irony of a lot of his shit is like whatever. But Kareen, not Karen, brings up River Phoenix. Yeah, but that was a little later. That was like what, 97, and I think that was heroin as well, if I'm not mistaken.
And heroin is just so bad.
I was talking about more of the excessive cocaine early
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah,
Time period, yeah.
I did so much coke, my heart's gonna explode.
Like we almost lost, Richard Pryor in that period. We lost John Belushi. That kind of a thing.
Man, Belushi, Jesus, what a genius! Holy cow!
yeah.
I know, right? Your Muslim uncle sends in $4.99 and says Frost being hired by rich and powerful men because of Peach. I think, and she heard of Nintendo. Isn't a strong feminist platform, enough said. Her favorite thing is the Nintendo. Oh gosh. Well, to this one, I think it's ironic because she put out her little tweet about YouTubers and all that business. I can't remember exact terms she used. Let me see here. I could probably bring it up.
Extremely handsome men that are too good for television.
Oh no, she's made this whole thing worse on herself now. She said to all those drama farming YouTubers, you can always reach out to my agent if you'd like to schedule a discussion. And our good friend,
All of us have reached out to her. All of us. Sorry to cut you off, Tom, but
You don't
it's
need
true.
no agent. Nobody wants to hire you.
At this point, I'm just kind of sitting back and collecting popcorn and waiting for that.
I wrote to her. My show us the information to reach your agent.
I already posted it on Twitter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he posted it.
in fact, that reminds me, I'm going to retweet it.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're gonna have people like Jeremy at the Quartering, Yellow Flash, and
Oh, I'm
some
going to
other
make sure to tag some people. That's for sure.
people.
And
Yeah.
it'll be funny because she's going to
What
go
makes you
up
think
and
the
say
audience
no
wants
one's
you around for
reaching
2
out.
hours?
If I think Nina Infinity actually like replied back to her and says, "Go on FNT." I'm like,
I
oh,
saw that. Yeah,
Did it
that
get
was
blocked,
great.
Script?
What's that?
Did it get blocked on you?
You
I'm not seeing it here.
Um,
Oh, where did you post it?
I replied to
You
Fast Hours
replied,
Girls
okay.
tweet.
Oh, okay.
No, but
I'd have some amount of respect for her if she actually did go on one of those.
Oh, of course.
channels,
I
you know,
agree.
I
agree. It would be good because they'd say she's open to discussion from the opposition. No, I would respect that too. Even if it was someone as crazy as her, I would give her credit for coming on because that does say that okay, I'm willing to go against my own echo chamber to have this open dialogue discussion. I really would give her that credit for that. I don't know
I'm
how.
sure there's plenty of people who would do it too, but she ain't going to do it. That's the whole point. She's
No.
trying
No,
to.
it would be too funny to watch.
She didn't think
That's the
anybody
thing.
would call her bluff. That's the
Yep.
stupidity of it.
No, that's a thing, and she's gonna say that too. That's the funniest part. She's gonna ignore all these posts of all of us
course she will.
responding, and then she's gonna say, "Look, see, no one responded," which obviously is a lie.
You know what she's going to do? She's going to get fired by her agent, and then she's going to blame that on us.
No, I mean she won't get fired. The agent will drop her. That's different.
Well, that's what
because
I
the
mean.
agents work for her.
Well, you know
so
what I
it's
meant.
like,
Sorry. Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I meant. Dropped. And then she'll be like, my agent dropped me because of all these fucking YouTubers.
But she's another example of
Maybe
not
that
as serious a
already
situation as Alec Baldwin, but it's still the same thing and a personality that just can't help herself. you know, and she's our own worst enemy. And so there you are.
You
Trying
know
to
what,
find this post.
Mr. Nelson, you're
Can you send me the
1,000%.
link on script?
You're
Ellen
1,000% right. I mean,
literally
again,
shot his career. She just did it figuratively.
and one
Never
of the
mind,
things
you already did. Go ahead. Sorry, Culture.
every time I was talking. Anyway, Mr. Nelson, I think this is the truth because, again, and I pointed it out to everybody that it's widely reported now that she came out and told everybody that she has a borderline personality disorder, you know, which leads her to do these ridiculously narcissistic maneuvers, right? And amongst other things that go along with that particular diagnosis. So, you know, she's not helping herself. And I don't know that she's either gotten the help to deal with that or has even addressed it chemically, which again, people sometimes do. So she continues to set herself up for ridicule and, you know, and to be mocked. And, you know, it would be great to have somebody go on there and dispassionately communicate with her and, you know, actually feel, allow, you know, essentially have a legitimate interview with her and, you know, try to field some of what she's been saying because she, you know, she wants you to go out and read some feminist literature.
You know what? I'm totally against this whole thing. Why? Because she's going to be like, well, my fee is X, Y, and Z. No, fuck you.
No, she said it was pro bono on her tweet.
She's going to do it for free.
That's what she claimed.
Yeah, bullshit.
But she wasn't responding to anybody who actually was challenging her. She was only responding to other people that were.
Yeah, that back and forth on the, what was it, the Reddit deal? You know, that just tells the whole story there.
Exactly.
It's right there in black and white for you to see, and she never sees it. You know,
does she have open DMs?
That's a brick wall you can't get through.
That's the other thing is I doubt it, but I didn't check. I don't care.
Again, if you go through her, she said go through her agency, so go through her agency.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say I retweeted it and I sent it to a few choice people.
Hey, you know, once again, I mentioned earlier how she's gonna lie, and so no one called out. It reminds me of all the celebrities, like every time they like say something like crazy, and then like there'll be like 800 responses, and a lot of them will be like constructive based criticism, but they single out the one that is like the crazy person, and then they use that as this is what these people are like. And she might do that. She's probably looking for one of them who's going to say something that they shouldn't say and then use that as, see, look at these people. I shouldn't talk to them. Then that could be her way of backing out of that conversation. So it's like, hey, see, look, this person's making like threats or calling me some very bad words. She's going to use that. She's waiting for that. We've seen how these people play. So she's aware of what she's doing. As crazy as she is, she's not that stupid. We'll say that. She's not that stupid. Moderately stupid, sure.
It's just, I don't think it would matter. I mean, it's preaching to a choir of sorts. You know, if that were to happen, you know. But beyond that, I mean, because, the most respectable thing would be for her to actually have a debate, a real argument where you counter the argument presented, and that what she never did. And that sort of thing would be actually, and that would probably help her a great deal. But it's not going to happen. Not like that. Even if she does it, it would be this disaster, and, you know, so.
Indeed.
It goes back to the NPC where you get your 5 talking points, and when you go into the talking points, they just get mad and walk away. They usually curse at you too.
So not to switch gears here. Who besides Jesse and I have seen Scream?
Oh, what a trash fucking movie that was.
I take that nobody.
No, I won't be able to see it till it hits streaming.
Well,
don't waste your time, man.
And I had zero interest going into it, unfortunately, Tom, because they lost me at the second film. So,
well, it had a 50-some% drop at the box office. Yeah, Chef, I heard you didn't enjoy it either. Oh, you did too. 6. I didn't know you saw it. What did you think? 6.
See, this is one of those things where I'm an over opinionated jerk because I never thought that Ghostface was like a killer the same way that the rest of the horror slashers.
What did you think, Dash? Did you like it?
And I'm kind of skewed.
What's sad is it could have been a decent movie, and it's just the fact that it's a comment on toxic fans and says they are the problem. That is my big issue with it. 6 loved it.
Ooh.
Yeah. And you got the same vibe, Jesse, it sounded like.
It was so. What's the opposite of art? Shit. Imagine you're watching a movie, and now let's stop the movie. Okay, you know, we'll zoom back. You'll see the guy with the boom mic. You know, some guy's holding a coffee, and this girl's going to give her SJW speech. Now, okay, resume the movie. Now let's end the movie the exact same way.
You know what the dumbest part of part 3 was?
I don't remember.
When she kept seeing visions of her mom. Well, besides that, which the long lost brother I didn't mind so much, but it was when she kept seeing visions of her mom, right? Like they have similar shit in this one, and I'm not going to give anything away. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but I feel like this movie was basically saying that toxic fans are the fucking problem, and I'm like, are you serious?
Of course they are.
And the way
you're not feeling that way. They literally say that it's part of the script.
It is like it's not even like hidden. And one of the characters that's a classic character, something they do to them is, my God. Not to mention there is zero, and I mean zero fucking reason for any of these characters from the previous films to be there. None. In fact, it's really fucking stupid for any of them to be there. Like, seriously. Because they're basically interjecting themselves into shit that has nothing to do with them anymore.
Yeah, the whole reason they're all there is, oh, people are dying again. Somebody put on a mask. Oh, time to show up back in town.
And if anything, Sydney has less of a reason to show up than she ever has before. And it's just
they had her pushing a stroller.
So
you're going to go into this situation having a little baby at home. You're going to fly away from your baby back to some.
Well, and the whole fucking storyline with the new kids is fucking dumb as shit anyway. And the other problem is they try and conflate things that were decent, you know, updates with things that weren't. So they clearly don't understand the difference. And the whole message I got out of it is that toxic fans are the problem. And let's not even get into the fact of how in every single one of these movies, Ghostface is some 6 foot something broad-shouldered man, no matter what the killer is. Let's just put it that way.
Killer is taller than everyone in the movie until he takes off the robe and it's a little girl.
Oh yeah, that reminded me of Taskmaster and Black Widow when Taskmaster took off the helmet. It looked like a tiny head on a big body, right? And then you see the Taskmaster walk like a man, and you're like, and then they're like, but they made it a woman. I'm like, oh, here we go again with this.
It says #, I think the commentary was double edged. I like that it shat of Ryan Johnson. Would have been better if Tara's father was Ghostface, I think he means he had a motive. Well, there's other people who had motives that they just continuously forget to mention, which I don't know if they're doing it as a red herring, but it goes nowhere or what, but I'm not going to get too deep into it. Let's just say there is characters who have had shit happen in the past that are conveniently overlooked through all the sequels, and they could clearly have a motivation to finally just go off and kill every last person involved with this shit.
Why were all the original characters in this movie just like copy and paste?
That's the biggest problem I have, is they try to play up this, and that's what I'm saying is like they are there for no good reason. They're fodder, and that's where I think the film is commenting is, and that's what it's trying to say is, oh, we can't do anything new because of the fucking fans, right? Like it totally does. It conflates its message between trying to say that things like Star Wars, The Force Awakens, and Last Jedi and stuff like that are the same as Ghostbusters Afterlife and things of that sort. And it just doesn't work. For me, Scream 4 was the logical ending. Leave it the fuck alone. Scream 4 commented on reboots and remakes. That's enough.
Man, is anything ever enough anymore though, Tom? It's like Hollywood just does not know how to end anything anymore. I've joked like, oh, one day they're just gonna like make like a sequel to like Jiggly or something like that. I don't know if you remember that movie. Is that one with Ben Affleck and J-Lo that like bombs?
No, they'll reboot that first.
They'll reboot it, and then they'll make an expanded universe on it. They'll get J-Lo. They'll make J-Lo the star, but even though they make her the star, they'll still give her a spin-off that she stars in, so she'll have 2 things she stars in. So yeah, I can already say the Jiggly expanded universe.
I mean, on the other end of it, is it really woke? No, there's nothing really in it that's like overly
it's not
woke.
really.
But at the same time, it's just the fact that It could have been a decent film. It's decently paced, I guess.
Well, dude, it's a shitty script, and they try to
Yeah.
cover it up and as well as the unimaginative nature of the kills, which is the whole point of a slasher, which they don't understand. They try to cover it up by just having more brutality and having
It is very brutal.
5 times. Drives me fucking crazy.
You're
It's
right.
like, yeah, well, you stabbed them a couple more times. Well, that's good for the edgelords out there. But
Jesse,
it's not
I
doing
gotta agree
anything.
with you on that one. This one is brutal compared to the other 4.
I will argue that Sleepaway Camp are better horror movies than the Scream movies.
That's not even like in the same category at this point. But like,
Not anymore.
no, but I would compare the brutality to this, like how different it was between Halloween 1, 1978 to Halloween 2 in 81. Like in the difference. Oh, you ass. So he's gonna make everybody hungry.
He's like, I got a giant.
How are you?
cheeseburgers.
How do you stay so skinny?
You got that goddamn skinny person
Fuck
metabolism.
you, dude. Ugh.
I haven't even done my best yet. I got this sriracha roasted garlic barbecue sauce
Yeah,
too.
okay, Shaggy.
Hey, like it's a good life, man. It's a very
Somebody's
got
got to get him a Great Dane.
Lord Almighty. We got a member chat from Gonzalo Bergali, who says it is not that Hollywood doesn't know how to end anything. They don't know how to create anything new, so they end up revisiting the past. Yeah, that's true. But
It's not even that they don't know how to create, it's that they're afraid to create, so they go with what's reliable to make them money. And that's stuff that's already worked.
well, and they even, and this is not so much of a spoiler, but they even make a point in the new Scream movie that the last Scream movie that they made that was this or Stab movie that was made that was just titled Stab, because of course they got to make fun of that, even though that's what they turned around and did to their own movie. So it's like, how can you make fun of the same thing you did to your own movie? It had nothing to do with well, they say that, you know, the fans were against it because it had nothing to do with the other films because it was a reboot or a requel or whatever. And that's what I'm saying is they're commenting saying that it's the fans' fault as to why you can never get anything new. It's toxic fandom, and it's because they can't move past the first film. That's what they're trying to say. And I'm like, no, first of all, you're ignoring the fact that there are fans of the entire franchise.
Yeah, that drove me fucking crazy.
In general, like they're just painting this picture that we're a bunch of toxic fans who only like the first movie, and that's it.
And we're very stupid.
Yeah.
And not only that, they kept saying it always goes back to the original. No, it doesn't.
No.
And they literally said the sequels don't matter. No, the sequels matter more than the original.
Clearly, you didn't watch.
If you know
Scream
anything
2.
about horror movies.
Exactly.
You don't know shit if
Scream
you've only
2.
seen the first horror movie. You got to see
Scream 2
every
is all
goddamn
about
sequel and
sequels
piece
that
it
are better
together
than the
yourself
first
because they're
movie.
not very deep. Let's be honest.
And then Scream 3 is all about trilogies.
Oh my god, these people need to
Scream
be
4
drawn
is
out
all
the
about
street and
remakes and
shot.
reboots.
Garfield was right.
Yeah. I mean, this could have been a good movie about rebootquels, which is funny because they actually use the word requel, which I'm like, oh, you just had to not use my term rebootquel? Cute.
Yeah, but that whole thing drives me crazy too because
it's
it's just a sequel that doesn't suck.
Less syllables.
Requel
I
is
get it.
stupid sounding.
Yeah.
So you're saying Spider-Man was better?
Yes, clearly.
Wow,
Ghostbusters.
that's totally
The Sorority House
not
Massacre Part 2 was
saying
better.
Well, there's even an article to go along with this whole thing that I sent to Andre, and I'm hoping he's doing editorial, so I don't want to get into it too much. But no, just be clear, guys. Andre fucking hates Scream. Like, for those who don't know, I mean, he hates it with a passion.
Oh, the whole franchise, you mean?
Yeah, well, he hates what it did to horror, and he
Okay,
never liked it to begin
like
with. So I
the
don't
meta
think he's.
commentary and all.
Yeah.
Well, he should watch this one then because it feels pretty goddamn good to be proven right.
You're not wrong there, sir. You're not wrong.
Because the way you guys are describing it, it does sound like someone who hated Scream made the movie.
Well,
Dude, but the only way to make this a good movie would to have been to bring back Matthew Lillard and have him not have died somehow in the first one.
it's not
Other
even
than that, you
yet.
got no more old characters to go back to make this thing wrap up. So they have to go to some sibling that wasn't even part of the first one for that kind of close to the original sort
What's
of maybe.
worse than that, Jesse? Almost everybody in this movie is related to somebody in the first movie in some way.
Oh yeah, it's like total inbred town.
Uh-huh. I want to bounce off of what Douglas said about the someone who hate this work on it. That kind of reminds me of what's that one anime franchise that went live action that got canceled after one season recently on Netflix?
Oh, Bebop.
Yeah,
Cowboy
Cowboy
Bebop.
Bebop,
Thank you.
yeah.
And I want to mention that because then there's articles come out about how it wasn't supposed to be good to begin with. And do you think we're gonna get that with Scream? How they're gonna now just say, "Oh, it's not supposed to be good to begin with"? It's just like, why do you guys waste money and time like that? Oh, this was never supposed to be good. It was supposed to be a bad movie. I can't believe this is where we're at. Where our defense is, or sorry, their defense is, it was supposed to be bad. Like, what? You want your what? Why do you want something to be bad? Like, are we trying to be like Spider-Man 3 times an entire movie? Like, and particularly by Spider-Man 3, I'm saying that dancing, because like that scene took a few weeks to film. You want to talk about a big waste of time, and now you want to waste more time with making that an entire movie by translation? Oy, oy, oy. Who wants to make something bad
in Scream's
for fun?
defense, Nev Campbell, she really, really should be like the poster person for firearm safety.
She shouldn't even be in this fucking movie. Anyway, but like, I understand people who enjoyed it, but at the same time, I'm sitting here looking at it going, this movie is saying everything that we've been saying, only the opposite, right? Like, it just doesn't I just don't understand how they've gotten to this conclusion where they think this is clever, because it doesn't even fit within kind of Scream's. I mean, it's like almost uber meta.
It's Scream is a parody of a horror movie, right? But it's supposed to be a clever parody, right?
That's
So
what
let's
I'm
take
saying.
that.
Is like it's
So
almost
these people don't
too
understand
uber,
a clever
like,
parody,
meta.
and they don't understand the source material of horror movies, mostly slasher movies, right? So now you get this movie that's not funny, it's not clever, and it's certainly not scary in any way. Did you see when Ghostface pops out of the shed and he's like, "I'm here"? Did you see that shit?
Well, my other problem was I had two kind of theories as to who the killers were, and I was wrong with one, but it probably would have been better if I was right. And then the other one causes my issues with the whole issue of having certain people be the killer, right? Like, it's just, it doesn't ever add up in certain cases. And I had this problem with all the sequels, actually. Like Script's right. As much as I don't hate Scream 2 and 3, they both have the same fucking problem with the bad guy. And that is that they just pull one out of their ass out of nowhere. Scream 2 worse so, in my opinion. That's why I don't mind Scream 3 as much Script, because I can at least buy that one. Scream 3 having fucking the mother of what's his face, Billy Loomis, show up out of fucking nowhere, and it's like, how the fuck did nobody recognize her? That's what I said. Scream 2's reveal is worse than Scream 3.
No, you said Scream 3 where the mother comes out. Like, no, that's Scream 2.
No. But
Scream
she's the
3
mother
is the
of
brother.
Billy Loomis.
Yeah.
Yes, but Laurie Metcalf is Billy Loomis's mother.
In Scream 2, yeah.
Yes, but I don't mind that. My point is I don't mind that. I don't mind the reveal in Scream 3 that he's the brother as much as Billy Loomis's mother coming out of fucking nowhere. That's my problem. That's what I was trying to say.
I get you,
Yeah, because in that case, she's around too many fucking people who should have fucking recognized her before that.
Yeah, my problem was just like,
well, didn't she like lose weight and change her hairstyle?
Still, I don't give a shit. Fucking Sydney should have recognized her ass, because she does right away. And even if she's just like tangentially singing it, she's in almost every fucking scene.
Yeah, like as the fake reporter
thing is,
or something.
She was never meant to be the killer. They changed it at the last minute because we figured it out on the internet who the killer was.
Oh God.
And yeah, so
oh, no.
Yeah, they changed it at the last minute. So like her character, I don't think was ever meant to be that character to begin with. Like it was this whole thing. Cause I think if I remember right, it was Cotton Weary or some shit like that. So like, yeah, we figured it out right away. And like they fucking changed it.
Well, I mean, like Kevin Williamson, he'd been writing for, I think, a decade before he sold Scream.
Yeah, and I'm glad we didn't get his Scream 3, but go ahead.
No, I mean, well, unfortunately, we got I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is what he wrote 4 or 5 years before he wrote Scream. And then they just bought it because Scream was such a hit.
No, Scream is probably his only real decent script, to be honest.
I mean, well, he did The Faculty, which, it's a little bit interesting.
Still based on a book, though, ain't it?
It was ripped off of the Body Snatchers.
That too.
To something of that degree. It's definitely inspired
Body Snatchers
by a book,
in high school. Ripped off
Yeah.
R.L. Stein.
Probably,
That's
yeah.
a joke.
Because his version of Scream 3, get this shit, kids. Stu Macher didn't die, and they don't set it up at all in any of the previous movies. He's been sitting in prison being a puppet master all this time. Like,
See,
how the hell would Sydney not know that he didn't die? Wouldn't she be part of his fucking trial? That was Kevin Williamson's idea for Scream 3.
Yeah.
How do you do
know
that
what?
twist?
Suddenly Jason Voorhees ain't looking
wouldn't
so
have minded
sweet
if they had set it
anymore,
up.
is he?
I wouldn't have minded if they had set it up in Scream 2, like, you know, he was like horribly, you know, mangled and he's in prison and all that kind of shit. Okay, fine.
Kind of like
You know,
how
like-
they saved Dewey in Scream 2.
Yeah, just
Like a
kind of had it in
Batman
the
villain
background or
would be.
whatever. And like, okay, fine. But then you have it set up for future. But that's why I don't mind the twist in part 3 as much as 2, because like it's plus you had the problem of there's no fucking way she could have handled killing half the people she did the way she did. She ain't 6 foot something. Laurie Metcalf's only what, 5'4"?
I know.
Well, I mean, you also had Emma Roberts in
had to go
Scream
beat him
4.
up.
And that's
Emma
the other
Roberts in
problem.
Scream 4,
Yeah,
who's 5'1" or 4'11" or something of that nature. Like, she's tiny too.
that adds another issue. Yes,
Well, platform shoes, some padding. and-
bullshit.
Steroids, human growth hormone.
Bullshit. And then
The
the way
penis.
that this movie plays out, I say the same thing. Bullshit. I don't care. I'm a big dude. I can lift only so much myself. There is no fucking way some 5 foot nothing, 100 pounds maybe wet girl is gonna toss around some 6 foot dude.
No,
How
especially not wearing
dare
a robe.
you
You just grab the rope and
question
start whipping the person
Kate
around the room.
Bishop, you istophobism.
I mean, that's the kind of common thing. You're constantly seeing toothpick-limbed supermodels beat the crap out of Navy SEAls. It's just
Yeah,
like,
we're
So
stuck
this
in
isn't
that.
even the new thing, right?
And
Yeah.
I get it. Like, yeah, I know movies do things that are obviously not always attached to real life. So sometimes different logic applies, but there's nothing believable about when those scenes happen. Like, you could do things and make it believable, and every time none of it lines up. No, you see it and you're not sold on it.
You know, I think a lot of this started with Mia Jovovich in The Fifth Element, but she was like, a supreme being, so it made sense.
She was
But
perfect. Yeah.
now
Designed to
none
do
of
that.
this makes any sense.
Yeah, when there's some explanation to where it's magic or some
Yeah,
sci-fi
see,
explanation
making
or
it
superpowers.
believable.
Super soldier serum,
see,
whatever.
yeah,
it don't
some
matter, as
something
long
to
as
make
there's
it
a reason.
believable. Don't just
She's
we
a
have to go
vampire.
with it. Like,
When you're set
something.
more or less in a real world situation, like an espionage story or something, you need to at least just make her clever and she has gadgets or something. I mean, you just can't have her go and beat the crap
Punch
out
a
of the
guy and knock him
linebackers.
out,
In TJ Hooker, there's literally a scene where Heather Locklear has to use her baton to trip a guy because she has to make up for the fact that she's smaller in size than most average criminals.
Well, there you go. The brilliance of TJ Hooker.
Yeah. I mean, and that's like 30 plus years ago.
I mean,
they knew about
that
it
tells
then.
you something.
Well, this is
not
also the
smart
same
enough to
series
not
where they
marry
always make
Tommy
sure.
Lee.
Well, this is also the same series where they always make sure that Sydney has a gun after the first one just because she fucking knows better. I mean, come on. Anyway, Dash Tack says if you want fresh horror experiences, check out Archive 81. Just watch the first episode. It was fantastic horror. Well, thank you for the
What's it about, though?
recommendation. I don't know. Maybe it's good we don't know.
Yeah.
No, I'm all for finding something new. But I
right?
just don't
That's
have
what you
time
got to
to
do.
watch half the shit I got to watch now.
Yeah.
I'm just glad Andre's like, you must watch Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, no.
Oh my god! Wow, what'd you do to piss him off?
No, 3 years in a row I had to deal with that shit, man. Like you're fucking kidding,
Didn't hear
right?
him say it too. You need to watch more now. You're not done yet. You got work to do. Torture yourself some more, Tom.
You must suffer for the greater good. That's the type of shit he'd tell us. I'm not
I can hear
fucking
it
kidding.
too. Oh,
What's he doing in his
man.
spare time? Invent Wolverine?
He took this shit seriously. I'm like, no, I don't want to watch this. No, you will watch it.
Oh lordy.
Can
I'm
we
so
just do
sorry,
a
Tom.
retrospective on Happy Days that we can all enjoy?
Oh, that actually sounds like a good time.
Yeah,
You just sit there and you weigh it out. It's like continue to do this and watch Star Trek Discovery, or go back to
stab
retail
myself in the nuts.
or fast food.
hit myself with a hammer.
I do like
or watch
tacos.
Tarzan.
But no, I think I like this job a little bit better. I guess I can take a couple for the team. I didn't know it was going to get that bad, though.
Oh,
But I'm glad he after this year, he's just like, yeah, because nobody even gives a shit anymore. Like,
So how do you give a play-by-play back to him? You're just like, well, first some stuff happened, then
honestly, Jesse, by the end of it, I shit you not, if you go listen to the reviews, I'm kind of half joking, but I'm not kidding when I start to say like my brain has purged it. Like it's like my brain shuts down while I'm watching it. It's like it's in like this mode where it's trying to protect itself.
Survival mode.
Survival mode. And I can't remember anything. I black out, like
stupid. He can't see.
I would imagine it's just like a traumatic experience. But I hate being like overly dramatic, but it's true. Like I'd sit there and they'd ask me questions. It's like I don't fucking remember because I know I watched it. In fact, a lot of those I watched twice because I had to for our review things to get pictures and stuff for whatever. But like I got to a point where it's just like totally could not remember any of it. And it's like Picard was like, oh my God, that was like showering with sandpaper.
Oh, Six is right. It's called disassociation.
Yes, thank you, Six.
Disassociation.
That's exactly what it was. My brain was shutting down.
Went to your happy place.
Exactly. It was like I went to the merry old land of Oz where there's lots of midgets. Did you hear that? I called them midgets. Now I'm gonna get canceled by Peter Dinklage.
Midgets.
Did you all hear about this business? Now Disney's buckling to Peter Dinklage and all this stuff. They're actually bringing in dwarf people to make sure that they're being sensitive enough. He's like, they live in caves and shit. I'm like, motherfucker, did you ever watch Snow White? They don't live in caves.
They're miners.
They live. They work in a mine. They live in a house where they have a bitch for a slave labor there.
Yeah, well,
It's so funny just to see an elf trying to blast an elf story. That's what I find
disgusting. But see,
He's an
disgusting.
angry elf.
Disgusting.
I know. Woke on woke crime.
Disgusting Film just tweeted out not too long ago that they were actually going to replace the dwarves with magical creatures, and they were looking for voice actors. For
They're already
those
magical
creatures.
So it's Snow White.
So
and
dwarves
seven
can't exist
fucking-
now? What?
Even in Game of Thrones, they wanted to cut his dick off to sell it.
Now we have eliminated dwarves from the equation, kind of like some people are eliminating women from the equation.
I see where you're
and,
going with this culture.
eliminating redheads. So yeah, it
So
is.
it'd be just Snow White and the 7 miners, but there'd be children that are also mining and it's
I'm
slave poverty.
okay, so
this
and
went
that-
down a very bad road.
and this is exactly what Disney is hoping for because it'll sell really well in China. I gotta go.
China.
I mean,
China.
he went not only full dopey Boba Fett, he went grumpy, I guess, too. So
Well, he's
Dude,
probably
he's
feeling a
getting
little
really
bashful now.
yeah.
Oh no! I reading that article made my
It's
morning. I'm like, this is so.
All right, here's an article
funny.
for you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
All right,
it.
check this out. This affects about 1 in 15,000 to 1 in 40,000 people. So that's about how much representation dwarfism should have.
So one or two flicks a year.
So 7 of them is just far too many.
So you're saying if I actually got my little studio off the grounds, no pun intended, that nobody's gonna laugh. Thanks, guys. Fucking A. Little studio, Jesus.
Off the ground. You
That
doubled
too.
up.
I mean, it was double down, man.
Oh, gee.
That I would be
Oh, yeah, you could
overrepresenting
double up.
in
You had to
Hollywood,
double
so I
down.
could get all kinds of Oscars.
You see, this is the very thing that Dinklage was upset about, and you guys all did it.
Look, he needs to stop being such a fucking pain in the ass.
I'll be
How
a
about
real
that?
dickhole, and I'll just add
Look,
Dinklage to
You
everything.
could have any condition or draw or whatever.
the color
Any-
purple
anything.
Dinklage.
You could have any
Ghostbusters
subcategory. You could still
Dinklage. Back
be
to
an
the
asshole.
Dinklage.
Being a dwarf doesn't make you a saint.
What's really going to fuck with everybody's minds is when I make Lord of the Rings, but all the little people are big people, but the big people are little people.
There's some
Yeah.
big
And the
hobbits.
big people are actually shrunken down, so it's just going to be really fucking with everybody's heads.
Yep, and every single ant is really a pot plant, right, Tom?
And the orcs are played
Yeah.
by monkeys
It's set
on
in New
loan
York
from the
City.
monkey department.
So I guess he cost 7 dwarfish actors their jobs, did he?
That's a good point there, Douglas. Yes.
He's not
I
going to be
know.
Well, he
replaced by
can be the only one in
magical
Hollywood, right?
cartoons or something. I don't know.
And that obviously represents 280,000 tall people.
What were you
It's a
saying,
lot of
Script?
people he just cost their jobs. Thanks, Peter.
Seriously, hey Jesse, listen, I need you when it comes to you, Peter Dinklage. I need you to be the bigger person and just don't acknowledge him.
Well, you know, he is in my shadow.
You know,
Yeah,
there's a lot of woke on woke crime going on right now. I'm just saying.
This is what happens when you cater to these crazies in the loony asylum. Like, wait, when they get something, they want another thing, and then they want another thing. And this guy lives like within this, obviously, this bubble of all their crazy warped ideology. But nope, we gotta have more. So, and it's just so fun.
Well, this is horrible timing for DCV Titans super chat here after what I just said. But he says, "Does that mean they're going to be hiring blacks to play orcs?" No. What are you talking about? Or unless you're talking about Lord of the Rings, the Amazon series, probably, just because they're that fucking stupid.
You know what's funny? On Elder Scrolls Online, half the orcs are white.
Huh.
I think they did that specifically because of that shit, just to troll people.
Well, they also read between the lines and discovered everyone's, trans and homosexual and what have you.
Oh yeah, I was born with like a penis, vagina, and a couple other things. I don't even know what they're called.
I saw that porn the other day.
Yeah, it came straight from Japan.
It's hermaphroditic porn. No, I'm kidding.
What kind of rings are we talking about?
No, it is called hermaphroditic porn, but I'm kidding about watching it. I don't have time for that.
I wasn't
shit.
kidding about watching it.
I
What?
wish. Yeah, I wasn't kidding about watching it. Jesus. To Neil 89, well, if you see something like that, you got to watch it, right? It's like, duh.
Just let me download 5 VPNs.
Chick with a dick. That's fucking with my head.
Can she put it inside of herself?
It's really just a guy with breast implants.
Oh, shit. Don't tell me that fucking script. You're going to fuck with my whole, head canon there.
Well,
To Neil 89
Amazon
says,
Prime.
Booster Seat Productions, LLC, part of Tiptoe Limited. That's right. You're hired. You're hired. But everybody, all my camera people are going to complain about back problems after about a week. Nobody? Thank you. Jesus, no, I wasn't that funny.
I just had to.
Oh,
Sorry, I was still eating my breadstick and I chuckled. I'm like, oh, I'm on my last breadstick. It's really cheesy, by the way. Like really cheesy.
You're even cheese breadsticks plus 3 fucking burgers, man.
Yeah, dude, with barbecue sauce and cheese on all the patties too. And the bread's got extra gluten too on it. I can't prove that. I feel that way.
Have the extra gluten bread, please.
Would you like non-gluten? No, I want extra.
Makes you strong.
that shit
All
on.
these people can't digest bread. What the fuck happened to your genetics?
On the gluten.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Seriously, though, we've been eating bread for many thousands of years as a people. I mean, you should be able to digest it at this point.
No,
At
DZ
this
Titan,
point, you should be a true gluten for punishment.
Yes.
I do remember DCV Titan clearly, but the timing of your
Well,
super chat after me just saying what I did, I'm not going to go back and repeat it. It's just no. Bad timing on my part and yours. That's all. Like a meet cute in a bad romantic comedy. Indeed. So, yeah. What else is going on?
I guess we can't do that Ninja Dwarfs film that we were talking about since Dinklage has got to be the only one of short stature.
No, it's
Fuck
cool,
him.
dude. Just contact Ailstorm. They got a whole crew of dwarves they used
Oh
to impersonate.
He could have been a big
you're
part of
right,
this.
Jesse.
He could have
You're
been
right.
on the ground level,
We got you.
but he didn't want to. He's going to regret it in a few years.
He's at thigh level, yeah.
He could have got in at the right level. No.
Hey. Oh man.
If I was a dwarf, I would be in trouble all the time. I would tell every chick wearing a mini skirt, "Hey, I love your skirt."
I fucked a midget once, Jesse. It's not all it's.
Whoa.
well,
Man, Tom, you're an adventurous one.
This is not a secret.
Hey, as long as you didn't hurt her.
No, it was
Did you have to say, "Hey, look up here"?
just kind of weird. She wasn't much fun either.
Oh,
No.
there's not a lot to go around with that.
She didn't
even a
like it when
little
I
bit?
tossed her up in the air. And
What?
Yeah.
How did I end up on this stream exactly?
I'm kidding. On the last part, anyway. I did fuck a midget once, though.
Wow.
Wow. You must have broke her.
What's even funnier, she worked for a circus.
My face hurts.
Who was he? What the fuck, Darth Maul?
Oh my god, dude.
Bearded lady.
No. Look at Grimm's comment.
It was Warwick Davis, okay?
Oh.
You know, I'd brag if I fucked Willow.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I'm
Hey.
crying right
Or
now.
what was the other guy's
wouldn't,
name? Mini
right?
Me. What was his name? Vern Troyer.
Oh
yeah.
Oh,
god.
mini me. Yeah.
Mini me.
Yep, Tom fucked him. That's why he's dead.
Oh, Tom.
What? It's a joke, culture. It's called joke.
Yeah, a Six just sent me here. This is what I was talking about before. This is from the Hollywood Reporter. To avoid reinforcing stereotypes from the original animated film, we are taking a different approach. With all these 7 characters and have been consulting with members of dwarfism community. We look forward to sharing more as the film heads into production after a lengthy development period.
Hold on. They've been contacting the dwarf community.
I never really thought that.
Where
I didn't
is the
realize
dwarf
that had an
community?
election for
Is this
representatives.
Like fucking, like,
I never
we
really, I guess,
going
thought
to the
that
Shire?
dwarves were the same as little people. To
how
be
do you
honest.
like?
I
How do you
know they use
contact
that
the dwarf
term, but
community though?
I don't know. I'm sure they got a lollipop guild.
That's exactly right. They reached out to the Lollipop Guild and they said, what we can do for you, you guys.
I almost got it out without
Did
laughing.
they have to send a crow? Were there runes
They've
involved?
got plenty of representatives in the lollipop guild.
Oh, they send them a Volkswagen Mini to pick them
on
up.
hand just in case one of the dwarves went awry and started causing trouble. The copper pot solves.
Have you
everything,
ever
so.
seen Over the Rainbow? You get that many dwarves together, all hell breaks loose.
No.
It was the inspiration for Gremlins, I heard.
I know that Santa Claus. I know that Santa Claus enslaved all those elves.
Am I really the only one here who's seen Over the Rainbow, though? Seriously?
What?
It's got Carrie Fisher in it, for Pete's sake.
Oh, sorry, Carrie.
Come on, at least you have had to have seen it, Script.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, I was gonna say somebody has besides me. Yeah, it's loosely based on the true story about the making of Wizard of Oz, but it's revolved around the people who had to basically wrangle all the little people, and it's about how fucking crazy partiers they were.
See, I didn't hang out with enough drag queens growing up to have seen something about the Wizard of Oz.
I don't know about drag queens, but
dude, do gay guys not love Dorothy?
well, yeah, but I mean,
yeah.
that has nothing to do with Over the Rainbow, though. I'm just like, yeah,
same thing.
No, Over the Rainbow is about the dwarves.
Yeah, why would you? My joke was, how would you even know?
I don't know, but Carrie Fisher is pretty hot in that. Yes. Who's the guy in that? And I can't remember.
Well, Carrie did make Harrison cheat on his wife, so she was probably looking pretty good.
I'm thinking she slept with a lot of the people in that production, but anyhow, probably so. Who the fuck was the guy in that
far
movie?
away?
Somebody's got to remember besides me.
Man, imagine
I
saying
can't
that
believe
you fucked
Culture's never
Leia.
seen that movie. Chevy Chase, that's it. Yeah, thank you, PQ. That's it. Chevy Chase was even in it. Yeah.
Under the Rainbow. I love you guys.
Is it Over the Rainbow or Under the Rainbow? Is it Under the Rainbow?
No, it's just another dwarf joke.
It might be called that. I don't remember. You should see it though. You might like it. It's a great movie for one of your movie nights, Jesse.
Is it as good as the Mark Twain movie about the Heaven's Gate cult?
No, but it's funny. It's about how a bunch of crazy little people. Is it Under the Rainbow?
Back in the 30s?
See, it is called
That's
Under the Rainbow. I told you, yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess.
You remember Wee Man from Jackass? How he could kick himself in the head? I wonder if Dinklage could do that to himself after committing a woke-on-woke crime. Like, all right, dude, go to the corner, go kick yourself. Oh.
I know it needs to get a release. I don't think it's even been on DVD. It might
Chef
be
says,
available on
"Fuck that
digital,
movie,
though.
Jesse."
Oh, has she seen it? You've seen it, Chef? Or are you talking about the other movie that he was talking about? Probably talking about the one you were talking about, yeah. I think we've wasted this whole thing. I think we're all wasted. Nick, you're going to be watching or talking about Rumble in the Bronx tonight, correct? I have not seen that movie since I'm like 15 years old, so I'm sadly not going to join you tonight.
Oh, I love the film. I mean,
I do too, but I've literally not seen it since I was like a kid.
Originally, I thought it was going to be all about Candy, Rumble in the Bronx. And I was thinking that was going to be like, they were going to like, the Neapolitan.
And you all didn't laugh at my jokes. Listen to that shit.
Yeah,
that's like
I want
dad level shit.
I know that the story is so intricate and beautifully webbed throughout so many different characters in Rumble in the Bronx. That's hard to talk about it unless you've just seen it. But I'm pretty sure it's just like a bunch of dudes like trying to kick Jackie Chan's ass and they can't.
Well, it's a nice story because it's got a simple plot of, hey, we gotta save the neighborhood grocery. It's not some big story that can affect the entire state. It affects a particular area of New York City, even though they filmed in Vancouver, and it shows at times. And obviously, it's the movie that brought. Jackie Chan's stateside recognition. That's really what's notable for, because even though like the acting, you can obviously debate about whatever is like a good or bad acting, but it showed you what potential Jackie Chan had as an action star and how charming he was and how funny it was.
But he'd already had massive success where he was.
He did.
I was just going to say, here's your trivia for tonight from me, Nick.
Crossover.
This is actually you're right in saying it's the first time he had success because they tried to make
he was in another film prior to this.
That was
true.
Released an American film.
He was in Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee.
Well, not just that, he was in Cannonball Run.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yes.
That's true.
Yeah. I think that's the movie that paid for his eyelid surgery.
What?
And that's not a joke. He actually got plastic surgery to make his eyes.
And I think Mondo's right. I think Police Story got a release over here first too. But it was Rumble in the Bronx that finally was his breakthrough hit.
Yeah, that was one that
3 Police Stories before Rumble in the Bronx was even produced.
I know, but I mean, as far as like getting released over here, and I think actually the Police Story that got released here might have even been Police Story 2 as Police Story 1 or something.
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
it was 2. And
it was because I remember having to go hunt it down.
Yeah, they're all fucked up out of order. Same thing with Drunken Master.
The coolest thing about that film that you're about to talk about, Nick Weiser, is of course the hovercraft. Other than that, it's a total waste of a film.
Oh, the hovercraft.
What? Are you kidding?
Ah, dude, no. Dude, there's so many greats. Just
even
the end is so great.
You're doing I'm definitely there for that one, Nick.
Okay, yeah, that's obviously that's between the panels. So if you guys want to come on next week, that's next week's flick. So that's just letting you guys know it's a secret. But yeah, that's next week.
I almost did the whole line from that.
I know.
Director's cut or theatrical?
That's a good question.
Well, let's go all the way there. Let's do the director's cut.
Well, the director's cut is the only one that's available on DVD and Blu-ray, but the theatrical edition was on HBO Max. I don't know if it still is.
Don't know, but
the only big difference though is just the transitions, right? From what I remember,
primarily, yeah.
Which I don't hate the new version, but I understand why people want the other one too. I've only seen the original one once.
What we'll do is we'll mainly talk about the theatrical, but we'll bring up an odd mention or two about the director's cut. So, because obviously the theatrical is the thing that I guess you could say more normies.
Honestly, I'd say more people have probably seen the other version now than the other one. But
oh yeah,
that's a widely available one for the past 20 years. Yeah. Although, like I said, I don't think there's much difference between other than just the transitions between scenes.
Yeah, there is. There's a deleted scene where what was the original name? Cleon, where he had more time with his girlfriend.
Oh, is there a deleted scene added back in? Okay.
Yeah, because it was a longer movie to start. See, an interesting thing about the Warriors.
They deleted it down, you mean?
Yeah, and I think there was something later they cut out too. There was an extended scene at Cypress's gang's headquarters.
Oh, I should go watch the theatrical cut again.
But
You got a
what
whole
was it?
week.
Oh yeah, the only reason that movie was ever made.
Well, we're
was
getting too
because,
close to saying what it is now. Everybody's gonna figure it out.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil it for the audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shit. I was like, oh shit.
Watch Toxic Tuesday tonight. You'll
Rumble in
find
the
out.
Bronx.
Yeah.
Yeah, check out Rumble in the Bronx.
Now, see,
I'm
if you were
curious.
talking about Drunken Master, I just saw that one like earlier this late.
Drunken Master is great, dude.
Oh, I
love
love Drunken
that.
Master. That will
First
be one
Strike's also pretty
someday.
Dude.
Was that script?
First
What?
Strike is pretty good.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
by hands down, the greatest Jackie Chan movie ever is obviously The Tuxedo.
Yeah, I hope you're kidding. I mean, I like
What
it,
about
but I
that
don't know
one where he
what
was a
it is.
cook? What about that one where he was?
I would
twins?
say between Drunken Master and
He just dropped one.
Shanghai Noon.
The Tourist, I think, or something like that. He was
did he?
Pierce Brosnan was on the other side of him.
I do like Rush Hour though, like Book of Souls
Rush Hour is
stuff.
incredible. Chris Tucker's
Yes, Rush Hour.
He hates Rush Hour, but I didn't.
I don't care.
Coming out of my mouth.
His voice is great in those. So good. No, it's the next few weeks are. I've got a summer plan on, or maybe even like a month plan I'm gonna work on for a particular long running franchise for summer. So Toxic Tuesday is gonna be a big thing. Of course, now we got Yeti Cast on board too, which is good. Like Yeti Cast is a great addition. The guy knows movies. He knows how to roast and have fun. So
you got to clear space for me on something I care about, Nick.
well, let me know what you care about, and I'll clear out space for you.
All
Because I tried to have you on for Die Hard. I tried to have you on for Demo.
Right.
So
I know.
I want to
that
have
was my
you.
own
I want
fault.
to have you there.
Oh, that's that. Oh, so do everybody wants to have me. I understand.
I know, but I've been waiting and I've been patient. So
That's
I've got
fair.
a nice spot in the bed for you, and you keep like turning away my offers. It's,
You put out rose petals.
Everybody
You wafted the
wants
air with
some.
perfume.
I want some.
Some Barry White.
Now you all seeing burgers dancing in your head.
I am.
I know.
and breadsticks.
Roast It's not your starters.
Wow.
Wow, these are the kind of shows I enjoy because we are completely rudderless for like the
Mhm.
last
I
35
love
minutes.
it though.
Yeah. we were
When
we
are
were-
you gonna do Porky's, Nick?
Oh God, let's do that.
I have what I'm gonna do is we're gonna do a month of comedy, of toxic comedy.
Porky's,
And
Oh,
Porky's
Revenge of
will
the
be in that
Nerds.
list.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
Revenge of
Van
the Nerds,
Wilder,
Porky's.
Van
Yes, we're gonna
Wilder,
do a
where
whole month of toxic comedy. It's coming.
Well, okay, here's my top picks, and I know you obviously this is just you do what you got to do, but this is what I would say
yeah,
for that month of comedy. I would say you got to do at least, like you already said. Oh fuck, I just forgot. Porky's,
Mm-hmm.
Revenge of the Nerds,
Mhm.
Bachelor Party,
Oh yeah.
That's I was thinking of those three. No joke. Like
An
I was
Animal
thinking of those
House.
three.
Oh, Animal
I
House.
did not think
Oh.
of that actually.
You could do like just National Lampoons Month.
True.
Yeah,
Save that
yeah,
for like
right.
a National Lampoon's
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
That's
That's true. I didn't
See, there you
think of
go.
that. So
'Cause a lot of people like the
swap
themes.
out-
A lot of people
so-
like the Die Hard month, so
And-
I want to do themes. Themes
and
is
I
good.
will-
The 80s, man. It's like anything though. It's like Caddyshack.
God.
Caddyshack could be a good one, too,
Oh, and well, Groundhog Day was so brilliant, right? I mean,
Yeah, but I don't know if I
you
consider
could do
that
like a
necessarily
Murray
toxic.
month.
It's not toxic.
So just
but
do a
it's
Harold
great.
Ramis written month, written by
Oh,
Harold
Harold
yeah.
Ramis.
Ramis month.
The Ramis
Dude.
month.
4 movies that Harold Ramis wrote.
Mhm.
So you got Caddyshack, you got
Stripes.
Did he
I
write
think he helped-
Multiplicity?
I think he did, yeah.
That
Just
one's
don't
got
do
some
year
toxic
one
shit.
because that was like terrible.
I didn't. I actually never saw year one. It's funny you mentioned that. Like when I went and saw
It
Afterlife,
is terrible.
I think some of the guys I pale knows, but for those who do not know in chat, when I saw Afterlife in theaters, I got out of the theater and I looked to the wall on the right side of me, and there's a note on the wall written. And it says, "Thank you for letting me film this movie in your town. I had an honor spending my last several months with you guys. I will miss this town for the rest of my life." And it was signed by Harold Ramis when he shot the movie Groundhog Day. So the theater where I saw Afterlife, which was
Woodstock,
a
yeah.
tribute to Harold Ramis, happened. Yeah, I was just like, "Whoa, what are the odds?" Like, that's
Okay, so
cool.
here's the 4 movies you do for Harold Ramis. You do Meatballs, Caddyshack,
oh, I love
Stripes,
Meatballs
and either
So good.
Club Paradise or Back to School.
Ooh, I haven't seen Back to School in a while.
God, Back to School is so good.
Back to
Yeah,
school.
back to
probably.
school
I
is
think that's
pretty
it.
concrete.
I have to rewatch that one.
Do not Color Paradise with Robin.
I like it, but Back to School's better, and you just reminded me that he wrote that.
Yeah.
God, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Think about all the comedic minds that came together to make all of those incredible films back then.
Right?
It wasn't a solo deal, man.
It was a who's who. It was a
Yeah.
who's who.
Yeah, it was amazing. I just got.
Well, you know, a lot of the times people who are creative, they think they're in competition, but a lot of times back then people were in the habit of discovering other comedians as well.
They
Unless
hung
you're
out with
Chevy
him, man.
Chase, yeah.
Yeah, well, fucking Chevy, dude. That dude.
One of my
The best
favorite
thing he ever did
stories-
was Community, and that was on his way out.
One of my favorite Rodney Dangerfield stories is his first day of shooting on Caddyshack, because believe it or not, at his age, he had not shot a movie before. He'd only done stand-up.
Oh, yeah.
And his first day, I can't remember, I think it was not the kid who plays Danny, but the kid with the dark hair. I can't think of the actor's name. But he pulled him aside and he's like, I'm bombing, kid. I'm bombing. Nobody's laughing. I don't know. I suck. They're going to fire me. They're going to fire me. I know it. He's like, Rodney, they can't laugh. He's like, what do you mean they can't laugh? He's like, they can't laugh. They're going to ruin the take. Well, fuck. Why didn't you tell me that to begin with, kid? Jesus.
Wow. My God. He was so good. I fucking love him so much. Dangerfield was so
You know
good.
what? Tom, me and my wife, we both quit smoking. You know, we decided that we're only going to smoke after sex. So I haven't had a cigarette in 2.5 months, but she's up to a pack a day.
Fuck me.
You know, the other day I was coming home from work, so I came home from work early and I saw the milkman run down the street half naked. So I yelled out the window, "Hey, milkman, why you running down the street half naked?" He said, "Because you came home early." No, I get no respect. I tell you, even when I was born, the doctor slapped my mother.
God.
No respect.
See, they still work.
And they will forever. The guy was genius, and his delivery was, even better. You know,
Look at
'cause
his
it's
hat.
funny.
I bet you buy this hat, you get a free bowl of soup. Oh, it looks good on you, though.
Oh my God.
You want to earn $15 the hard way?
You must be quite something for electricity, yeah.
I have to tell you that the one of the guys I think got no credit for how good he was because he never got a lot of opportunity was Kevin Nealon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Nealon was clever. His subliminal man. Oh, great character.
Yeah.
He was great in Grandma's Boy.
Just not enough respect.
No
Speaking
respect.
of Dangerfield, though, if it wasn't for Dangerfield, there'd be no Andrew Dice Clay.
You could almost do
That's
an
true.
entire Dangerfield month, but he has only like 3 really good movies. The
You know,
rest are
one of the
kinda
best films ever that's terrible? Ford Fairlane.
No, that's not
I love that
terrible.
fucking
Nice,
movie.
man.
That's not
Hey, who
terrible.
were they? They were Girl Scouts. I
You didn't
took
think we were going to
stock
kill
in
the
them.
fucking koala, did you?
Yeah, dude, I watched that movie like 18 times, and my buddy's like, I think that koala is supposed to be real. I'm like, really? And I'm like, nah. He's like, yeah, I think it is, because he says they hang the koala.
It's hilarious. It's complete schlock.
Robert Englund is in it. Is it England or England? Because I always said England. 'cause
I
there's
don't
England in there.
know.
England.
It's just
Eng-
England that feels funny to say. Why is there a U in it?
England.
England. Like with an A?
England. England.
Yeah, but he's the hello guy.
I had to have my gummies.
Vince Neil was in that movie too.
Caddyshack was drastically altered from its original state. How is that possible? It was possible because there was a lot of improvisation on the set, and it was edited down, I think, from like a 2+ hour version of it or something like that.
There was so much improvisation that they had like 2.5
Yeah.
hours of a movie in the final cut. Yeah.
Was it in the script when Bill Murray was hitting the flowers, acting like he was at the golf tournament?
Well, not only all that, pretty much 90% of what you see of Bill Murray do is improvised.
Yeah.
That entire scene between him and Chevy Chase is improvised.
Wow, really?
Chevy Chase hated that part too because
Yeah.
he couldn't get a joke in at all.
He's the best part.
He's
is
got the
you
most memorable
you can
joke. He says it's
golf-
a shithole.
can golf on it and then you can smoke it.
God, Bill Murray. Fuck. How do you compete with that guy? Holy shit. Just talk.
Those two fucking hated each other.
Oh, right. So such a treasure, and that's one of the reasons between him and Ramis that we didn't get Ghostbusters 3.
Well, Chevy
popping for a
claims he
long
tried
time.
killing him on the set.
Yeah, I heard about that. God,
It's on camera. Okay, the scene is it's actually a deleted scene. It's the only other scene that those two would have had together if it not had gotten cut. But he rolls up on this big, huge motherfucking lawnmower, like huge, like overly huge for comedic.
Well, it looks like it's a harvester for wheat.
It's huge. He's like, "Hey, can I give you a lift back?" You know, and he's like, "Yeah, sure." And he hops on the thing. Well, Chevy said Bill took the right so fucking hard and fast that he was trying to like shake Chevy. And he's like, "If I would have fell under there, I'd have fell under those blades and got killed." And he was like, they did it a couple times. Like every time he's like, "Slow down this time," and he would do it faster and harder every time just to piss him off.
Wow.
Well, Bill Murray was brought in specifically to sort of push Chevy Chase out of Saturday Night Live.
Wow.
Because people were not responding well to him on that sketch comedy show, and so they had beef. And Bill Murray and Harold Ramis had a falling out during the production of Groundhog Day, because Ramis was pushing Bill a little too hard, and Bill wanted to do things that, didn't jive with the rest of the story.
He wanted to make it more dramatic. Bill wanted to win an Oscar.
Bill wanted an award, and Harold Ramis just wanted to make a good movie.
Yeah. He did later.
Oh yeah.
God, they're so. I'm telling
Andy
you,
McDowell just bit her lip and tolerated the whole thing.
I think she's one of the few of his co-stars besides Sigourney Weaver to never say that she's like had issues with him.
No. She only had
Bill?
issues with the tension on set, but she never had issues with Bill or Harold either.
One of the only two, and I think Gene I think Sigourney just kind of fucking intimidated him probably, but no, like
Sigourney
otherwise
could keep up with him. Yeah,
that's
the
what I'm
thing.
saying. Like, I mean, but like you hear all the other stories of, especially on Scrooged. Like,
yeah, Karen Allen had a rough
Karen
time.
Allen and Carol, what's her name? Carol King, is that it?
Yeah, Carol King.
Yeah. Both of them had issues with him. Like both of them.
Yeah, but was cocaine involved in any of this?
No, he's just a dickhole.
She was the killer with being the ghost. She was so good at that. Oh, did I hurt you?
The fairy ghost, yeah. Of course, I mean, here's the other part too. So, when was the last time any of you saw The Man Who Knew Too Little?
Oh boy.
Not since it came out, because I did not like it that much.
I didn't like it either.
It's actually still rather clever
about that
of a
movie.
film. I had to rewatch it recently for an assignment gig, and just to get some reference points. I'm like, this is actually like kind of a lot cleverer than it deserves to be. The thing is that it's really hard to like accept Bill Murray doing what he's doing, because if it wasn't Bill Murray, if it was another actor doing it, I think that movie would have
Steve
hit.
Martin or something, yeah.
No, not even Steve Martin. Just like might be Martin Short.
Yeah.
Short would have worked.
It probably would have hit a little closer on the mark.
God,
Dana
Steve Martin
Carvey
was
classic.
also another
Well,
genius.
Bill Murray's not good at playing stupid. That's, I think, the biggest problem with that movie.
Yeah.
Caddyshack?
That's
Yeah,
not
very
similarly stupid.
No,
though.
that's him playing stoned.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a whole character onto itself.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I wouldn't call Carl stupid so much as just like, yeah, between stoned and demented.
Yeah, okay.
Like he blows the whole fucking place up.
I would say that's such a
C4.
sweet way to say it. Isn't it?
Da 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 da.
I must think
If you kill the Gophers, won't people get upset? No, the Gophers.
I think
Yeah,
that's
we
part
can
of
do
the
that.
drag and anchor of
Oh, not
Caddyshack too. Is Dan Aykroyd trying to do the same damn character?
Yeah, there's a
with
few. Well, Caddyshack
more-
2 has a few problems. Besides that,
Yeah,
What has many?
it's literally the same fucking movie all over again.
But can we get
Well,
back
it
to
focuses more on the comedian character than the kid just trying to get to college, right?
Yeah, which is the Silverman character this time around, and then you got Jackie Mason's filling in for the
Jackie Mason, right? Yeah.
the Dangerfield character.
I
Yeah,
can't believe I forget his name. I worked with that guy for like a week
Really?
in New York.
really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
He was
What were
doing
you
this
saying,
comedy show
Culture?
called Freshly Squeezed.
What do you want to get back to?
Oh, I want to get back to school because that's where we got off on these tangents. I
From Dangerfield, yeah.
Yeah, I love. Look, we have to do this, Nick. It's upon you. It's upon you to make this month happen.
I will deliver.
Okay.
We'll do
My
it for
favorite
Black
scene in
History
that
Month.
entire
Paul Rodney
movie is the
Dangerfield.
classroom.
Straight white guy who gets no respect.
Well, and you could do. I know of at least 3. I'm trying to think of a 4th one. You got Caddyshack, you got Back to School, you got Easy
Wally
Money, and
Sparks.
Easy Money is a very toxic.
And then you got Ladybug.
Oh, easy.
Which one?
Ladybug.
Sparks.
Oh, Ladybugs. Perfect.
Ladybug,
Thank
yeah.
you, Script.
Ooh, now we're singing, not just talking. Now, I love
Because
it.
it's actually referenced in Cobra Kai, and it was fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm. No, that's
You're not
gotta
really
be a
gonna
thing.
seriously think I'm gonna dress up like a girl. Well, no, I need you. Think of one of the other guys.
So good.
Yeah, this will be the future. So thanks for laying out the skeleton, guys, a little bit for the future of Toxic Tuesday.
The skelly.
It's gonna be
I
good.
just got Ladybugs not too long ago too.
It's gonna be fantastic.
I saw
Wow,
Ladybugs. I never saw.
You've never
We
seen that?
No.
It's pretty good.
We managed to go over 2 hours talking about jack shit.
Well, we had the
Well,
yeah,
he's got a
White
lineup
Man.
for the
Well,
Toxic
we talked
Tuesday.
about
Nothing else
Toxic
going
Tuesday.
on.
We talked about Peter
Dream.
Dinklage and his height issues. We talked about Spider-Man. Like that. That's good. We're
Talk about-
entertaining.
Talk about internalizing your immutables, right? But anyway. Yeah.
You know, this is kind of off topic, but on topic. Speaking of Ladybugs, not Rodney Dangerfield, but Jonathan Brandis. They need to release Sidekicks. That movie has never even been released on DVD. I don't think. I haven't seen
Oh,
that since
right.
I was
Yeah,
a
it's only been
kid.
VHS and like movie channels and stuff.
Karate Kid ripoff and a half with Chuck Norris.
Okay. There is a film out there with
With
Jason Priest.
Joe
Mango's
Piscopo,
in it,
right?
too, and Joe Pescopo. Yep.
There is a Jason Priestley film that has never been released anywhere.
You said something about this before too.
And yeah, he's a hitman, and he suffers from the same thing that the kid does in that Lucky Number 11 does, right? Where he doesn't have like caring feelings about anything, right? And it is brilliantly done. It bombed hard. It made like 18K at the box office. And the only place I'd ever seen it consistently was on that Flicks channel that was on cable way back 1,000 years ago. And I love that film. Cannot find it. The only place I've ever seen any form of copy of it at all is in the library. It's only available if you have a library card.
Well, fuck it, dude. Steal it.
Yeah. It
What's
is
the title?
It's the library.
I think it's
Nobody even
called-
goes there to
I
get
think
movies.
it's called Hitman. I think it's actually called Hitman.
Go get it and make a copy, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah,
But
it's
I
a
can't-
VHS. The
I've
same
tried to do it,
exactly.
like 7 times. It's never there. I'm like, I need this film.
You know what's funny though? If he was going to make a copy of VHS, he'd have to.
You
go
ever
and
check
hunt down
YouTube to
2
see if anybody
VHS
loaded it up?
players.
See, and interestingly, I checked YouTube, but interesting, and they only have clips, and they also have this like really bad language translation. It was horrible. But
That's awesome.
Jesse just reminded me. I have it somewhere. Like, you know how you used to have the VHS tape, and you'd hit the record button, and you would record like 27,000 movies, like on an 8-hour tape. And okay, maybe not that many. You get 4 movies on there, but I
If you
have
said
on
the
that
thing right.
on that tape. I have Side Out with C. Thomas Howell, and that film, the Hitman film, and something, and I cannot find the VHS tape, because believe me, if I could find the VHS tape, I would pop it in and convert that sucker to
I
digital.
guarantee you it's in the same place your West Side Story tape is.
No, that's at Mama's.
What's
It's
that
somewhere in the
saying?
basement.
Oh wow, Sidekicks is on Tubi. I wonder if it's in decent
Tubi.
There's definitely gonna be one
Oh,
day
wait,
down the
it's
line
cold-blooded.
a
Yes,
Rambo
thank
panel, Rambo
Thank
month.
you. SXHBK. Yes, it's called
Cold-blooded.
Cold-Blooded. Yeah, it's not Hitman. Yeah, but he
That'll
plays
help
Hitman.
you.
Yeah, but it is like I said, I have it, and I've gone to the library to get this thing, right? It's never available ever. It is in terrible resolution. Yeah, it's awful. It's like watching grains of sand on the screen. It's just bad. But the film itself is a lot of fun. I mean, and I understand why they're hiding it. Do you know who else is in that? Peter Eigert, and Back to the Future kid.
Kimberly
Marty.
Williams Paisley.
No. The
Michael
main
J.
star,
Fox.
Marty McFly. Yeah, Michael J.
Yeah.
Fox is in the film.
Oh, Michael J. Fox.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, my brain's not connecting movies to names right now, but it's okay.
Well, that movie has come out on Blu-ray.
No, Cold Blooded with Jason Priestley.
Yep.
Where?
Oh, wow.
It's on Blu-ray. I'm
Where?
just looking at an
At the
archive
library.
right here.
One? Where?
At the library.
Let's just see here. Yeah, it's on Blu-ray.com. You can check it out.
All right, it made like $8 in the theaters.
It
Wow.
did.
I wasn't lying. Like terrible, but I loved the film. I don't know why. You guys should watch it. It's worth it. I promise. So if it came out on Blu-ray script, I'm going to Blu-ray.com as we speak because I want that film.
Why
Yeah,
don't
I
you
got
go
the
do it on
little
Street
setting there. I'll put in
Smarts?
the private chat.
Oh, you have it.
Street Smarts.
I love
Street
you.
smarts.
I
Smarts.
love you. Yes, this is it. I love this film so much. I want this film.
Yeah,
Just add it to my gas
you can
list.
do an order from Germany and a couple of other European nations, but yeah, it's on Blu-ray,
Oh,
and you can probably find it digitally for dirt cheap too.
yeah. He hooks up with a prostitute, right? And it's so great.
We're just so excited about the.
Oh yeah, and Robert Loggia is in there as like the boss, and Peter Reigert is his
The
mentor,
boss,
teaches
huh?
him how to be a hitman. He lives in a basement, like at a old people's home. It is so messed up and wonderful. Yeah, this is a great film. Janine Garofalo's in it too. I forgot about her. Yeah, man, this is so good. Kimberly Williams is in it. They got a bunch of people, and yet this thing is just like a car crash. It's tremendous. It's tremendous.
Well, you got a late Christmas gift.
Yeah, dude, this is thank you, script. How do I buy
There
this?
you go.
You just have to search it's got what does it say 13 Blu-ray number. You have to find some of the sublinks, but yeah, you just search from there. You should be able to find it.
All right. I want this. I want this now.
Yes, you do want it.
If you want it, here it is.
I don't know if it's ever been released. It doesn't say.
I don't know if it's been released stateside, but I'm pretty sure you can probably get it.
Dude, I lied.
Ordered
It only
overseas
made
more.
$16,000.
Wow.
Oh,
Well, what was out at the time?
$25,000.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
Du-du-du,
Du,
du.
du, du.
1995 is when it came out. So this was in the height of his 90210 shit and all that business.
Oh, 95. So you had Batman Forever, obviously Rumble in the Bronx, as we mentioned earlier. I think Free Willy was that year as well.
Well, there you go. That
Oh.
explains it.
Toy
The
Story.
Mask, I think. I don't know. That was 94. Never mind.
I thought Toy Story is 95. I could be wrong. And then I think Ace Ventura When Nature Calls was 95. I think I could be wrong. 95 or
I'm not
94
seeing it on Amazon.
was When Nature Calls. Because I thought Dumb and I was right. Toy Story is 95. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
My memory's not too far off because I remember I saw Toy Story and I went and saw When Nature Calls that same day because that was at a time where kids could just go
Oh, yeah,
off in the
Nature
world
Calls.
on their own, and our theater was at a mall, so I'd go into KB Toys, get my Spider-Man figures, and then go
Where-
see a movie. It
Bad
was a
Boys
great
and
time.
Tommy Boy, I think, came out that year too.
Where are you gonna
Yes,
find-
Bad Boys 1, and I was from Berwyn, that town Svengoolie mentions all the time. Where he's
Huh.
like, Berwyn. I lived there. Or how about, here's a better point reference. You know that scene in Waynesville where they're all rocking out to Queen and they pass that tower of cars? When they're rocking out to Queen, when they're singing the God, I can't believe I'm forgetting
Bohemian
the song.
Rhapsody?
Bohemian
With
Rhapsody.
the cars on the spike.
Yes, I lived by that tower of cars. I lived by that because I could walk that because that was in a parking lot where there's a Jewel and a McDonald's, a Walgreens, and that thing was in front of a Walgreens. I remember, so it was cool to say, "Hey, I live by something that's in Waynesville," even though they said the movie is in Aurora, which Aurora from
Aurora,
where I'm
Illinois
at-
doesn't have that. Yeah.
No, it does not. That's Berwyn, of course. But Aurora from me currently is about an hour, and from Berwyn it's probably like a half hour, 40 minutes. But it was cool to say, hey, I live by something that happened in a movie that I loved, and Wayne's World obviously is a absolutely fantastic.
I can't believe you survived Chirac, Nick.
Dude, you know, I don't. Maybe I just some people in Chirac liked me, so they're like, okay, this guy gets to live. So it must be all the pizza I gave the money to in Chicago.
That was before Skeletor took over, though. So,
oh, dude, I thought she was Beetlejuice. I mean, she's somewhere in the between now.
Which one? The one from Howard Stern or the one from like Tim Burton?
Well, she looked kind of like a blowfish at certain angles too. Like when the eyes, like it says, like, whoa. I was just like, oh, you hideous thing.
Honestly, I mean, I think that she looks like more like the Beetlejuice of Howard Stern fame. But other than that, I'd say she looks like a 7-year-old boy in a fucking grown-up suit.
Who, the mayor of Chicago?
I saw a funny meme where they say she looks like a Gotham villain.
That too, yeah, because she was dressed like, yeah, like the penguin and shit.
Dude, she looks like Admiral Akbar. She does. There's no makeup there. She's Akbar. I mean,
I'm going to hell.
So she's going to
recognition,
you
it's
or
not
be
my
like,
fault.
can you dramatically turn around and yell, "It's a trap"?
Yeah, I know.
It's a trap.
Oh. Well, yeah, Chicago is a trap now. That's why it got out before it became a trap. Like seriously, like that back then that was figured. Now it's literal. So, you go for the pizza, then get the fuck out after. That's really is. You know they say come for this and save for this. No, it's you come for the pizza and then get the fuck out after.
People from
What, you mean,
Chicago
like the
moved
deep
someplace
dish
safer,
pizza?
like
Like the
Bosnia.
cake?
No,
pizza?
that's not Chicago pizza. Chicago pizza is thin crust pizza. Deep dish pizza is the tourist edition.
Yeah,
the
that's what I'm
true
thinking.
Chicago pizza is thin crust. Whoever's telling you that the deep dish is Chicago pizza is lying. That's like no, you're wrong. It's all about
that's
that
a
delicious
cake. That's
thin
not
crust.
pizza. That's the thing.
It's a cake. I like
I
it.
consider it a
Sure,
casserole.
I
like
enjoy
cake,
it.
but it's
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Actually, it's
but
closer
it's
to
not Chicago
Detroit
pizza.
style or whatever.
It's
but,
gross.
Oh,
is what
I
it is.
love Detroit pizza with that sauce on top
I like
and the
Greek
square
pan
shape
pizza.
and the thick crust. Oh, I love that thick crust. That's
I don't
stuck
like
in
the
your
sauce
thickies.
on top, but yeah.
Oh, wow, this is
Give me a
terrible.
thickie.
Well,
Oh,
Chicago
yeah.
Pizza could be the plot to a movie where you hire a team to get in, steal the pizza, and then get out.
Instead of Prison Break, Pizza Break.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a better plot than Army of the Dead.
This is true.
At least more compelling,
Yeah,
Oh my god.
and it'll probably also be like half as long too.
Oh,
well, they got to have that director's cut.
Might even get like a nomination for good acting.
Yeah.
speaking of long, we got about just under 40 minutes or so till Nick talks about some Rumble in the Bronx over on his channel. I know Six has been sharing everybody's links. Thank you for that, Six, in the chat.
Thank you.
So head on over there to park up for that.
Yes.
I think we're going to start rounding this out here. Unless there was anything else anybody can think of to talk about that's been going on in the news, but I can't. It's been a pretty slow news day, actually, that I can think of. So, yeah.
There's going to be a World War III over in Europe.
No.
It's been
Let's not even get into that shit.
No, that's for another channel or another panel.
Put the bunny.
Just remember how to get under your desks and the rest.
You kidding? I'm lying in bed. If I'm gonna go, I'm going comfortably.
Script's like, I'm gonna lie here naked.
Script, I could see Script like you're basically the Shaquille O'Neal meme, like I sleep, like, and all of a sudden,
No, it'd be more, you know that guy that's like trying to fight the storm with the American flag? That'd just be me, but it'd be nuclear blast.
You know, at least in 1,000 years, when someone sees your skeleton, it's gonna look badass.
Exactly.
It's the only way, terrorists, you're going down, America.
Fuck
yeah.
One of the greatest
Gonna
war films
save
ever
the motherfucking day, yeah.
Freedom Kush a Beku Fav.
It's like, if you want back on this team,
Was that like the
you're
lounge
gonna have
version,
to
Nick?
suck.
There are dicks,
America,
pussies,
yeah.
and assholes. Dicks fuck pussies. and
assholes
dicks fuck assholes.
are only an inch and a half away, or pussies are only an inch and a half away from assholes.
Dude, I like that scene. So it's like, I've seen everything. Have you ever seen a man try to eat his own head off? Well, no. Well, then you haven't seen everything.
Oddly enough, I worked in a hospital where I have seen a crazy person try to eat his own face and head.
Wow.
Yeah, but
That
you're
must
from
have been frustrating
California.
for you.
I'm not from California.
Oh,
I
yes,
saw that in
Steve,
Canada, man.
Yeah, I know. It's... I killed my fucking joke.
Mm-hmm. I hear
Oh,
music.
man.
It's so romantic too.
I don't hear any music.
Is there an ice cream truck at somebody's house?
At this hour?
Wait, now I hear music.
See,
Tom's playing us out.
Oh, it's the end credits.
I think it's the part where we quietly get the hell out.
He said he wanted to round out. I didn't know he wanted to knock us out with bad music.
What floor are you getting off at?
Well, it could be like the Academy Awards.
Or you could be like my outro credits, which destroys your eardrums.
Is that the
Yeah,
vocal
that's
music
good.
one?
Yes.
You should use 2 minutes to midnight.
It only gives you so many choices.
I
here.
like No Sleep Till Brooklyn, but all right.
All right.
No sleep.
Works.
Bah,
Makes me want to go on a road trip.
middle
of the
night. All right, kids. Douglas, you got a channel?
Yes, I do.
Beastie Boys did a lot with an A and a C chord.
There's the link. Oh, well, anyway.
Check out your
Yeah,
channel.
the Nielsen ratings. I got a channel. I just did a video recently about the Batgirl movie. She's going to have a transgender buddy.
Yeah.
Which is based in the comics. So, you know.
Yeah, Ivory is her roommate, right? Roommate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ivy's going to have a penis?
Ivory Aquino.
Apparently, yes.
Yeah.
Wait,
Well,
back it up. What? Transgendered roommate, but it's Ivy?
Ivy Aquino is playing the character.
Also, check out Culture's channel. Check out Nick Weiser's channel. Check out Script Doctor's channel. Check out Jesse's channel. Check out all the other Midnight Edge channels.
I wish that I had Jesse's channel.
You know, because of people like you, I learned that song.
What can I find of? Would he like that?
Didn't sound good.
It works.
Hey, folks, before we go, give me to 1K. I'm close to
Get into
1K.
1K.
You heard me. Give
Get
me to
over there.
1K.
Subscribe to Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't want 24K, just one.
And this is
Yes.
dedicated to Nick.
Sir, how high are you? Now, officer, you're wrong.